Hey, Tim.
Hey, Greg.
What's Video Blocks?
Video Blocks is awesome. It's stock footage.
Like
you can
this.
See it here.
Whoa, it's a bald eagle.
That was in Colin's intro in Kind of Funny Live 1. I used Video Blocks extensively in Kind of Funny Live 1 and 2.
But no one would know if you use it Kind of Funny Live 2.
This was in one. This was in the intro to one.
Yeah, that was in there too.
But anyways, Video Blocks is awesome. And in addition to video, there's also audio stuff. There's graphic stuff. If you're a nerd like me that edits a lot of videos, or you're just like looking at cool, pretty vistas.
Yeah,
here they are. You know, you
Video Blocks is an affordable subscription-based stock media site that gives you unlimited access to premium stock footage. This is what you use. You're a long-time customer. How long have you been a customer?
Game stuff?
Roughly.
I don't know, a couple of years. I think they've only been around a couple of years. There's a monkey. He's dancing around telling jokes.
Wow, okay. They have a library of over 115,000 video clips, After Effects templates, motion backgrounds, and more. Video Blocks is offering our fans a year's subscription for only $99. This is a $50 discount off the usual price tag for our listeners and viewers only. That's less than $10 a month, Tim. That's how math works. If you want to get it, get your yearly subscription today for only $99 at videoblocks.com/Greggy. That's Videoblocks, videoblocks.com/Greggy for this discounted offer.
Give me one of them pullbacks, Greg.
Woo! What's up, everybody? Welcome to the GameOverGreggy show. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the producer/seducer, Nick Scarpino.
Hi, Greg.
It's such a rare occasion you wear the producer/seducer shirt, available at kindoffunny.com/store on this show.
I should wear it more often.
Are you doing the little like arm sleeve roll up thing?
Yeah, I did.
You're so fucking trendy, Nick Scarpino.
Oh, you look like a greaser, huh?
Well, the thing is, I haven't worked out.
You going to the
2 months,
sock hop?
But if you roll the
drive-in theater?
your arms look bigger.
I like it.
I don't know what else
Could you
creatures
shave
do.
the hair on that arm?
Did I shave the hair?
No, it's bad.
No, it is right
I'm
there.
That's
I'm
horrible.
I'm a hipster.
Do you shave it usually? It is stiffer than
he
the
needs
rest.
to shave it.
I usually have my wife near it. She starts here and then it goes the whole back.
She,
But that's
she starts here on the bicep.
That's where it ends.
Okay.
And then it starts
The
really
coat.
on the back is really the piece de resistance.
What's it going to take to get you to go some Halloween as Wolverine? Because you would be such a fucking
Halloween
dope-ass
party?
Wolverine. Wow, if only we
just
were
have to
almost
go?
through one here. Except somebody didn't want a whole bunch of extra work for no reason. And it was you.
Next year we're gonna throw a badass Halloween party and I'll go as Wolverine.
All right, cool.
What are you gonna go as? You have to go as Cyclops then.
I don't think
As a Cyclops, just one eye in the middle of your forehead.
Okay.
The rest of it
That was
covered
one
up.
way to go with
Happy
it.
Jubilee.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, of course you Jubilee.
Thank you.
Over there, the pure one, Tim Gettys.
That's him. I'm not letting Nick off the hook with this though. I'm liking
The rolled sleeves.
it's good. I first saw that with one Raul.
Rahul. Yeah.
Rahul?
I
He
still
was
have him.
here, and
Blatantly, you
and I
can
saw
tweet
that,
that
and then after that, all the cool kids are doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing it left and right. So the fact that you're doing it, it's good.
Thank you. I
It's
appreciate
good
it.
luck. Good
Appreciate
luck.
You should start doing it.
He only does everything. Colin Moriarty, do you want to roll your t-shirt
I was going
sleeves?
to roll it up very dramatically. But, it's good to be here. Go Islanders. And thank you for having me on my own show.
It's a
with you
pleasure.
guys.
Well, this is my show. This is the GameOverGreggy show.
It's our show.
Is it? I think Colin Greg is our show.
I don't
Super
know. I
awkward
feel like
that I'm
that's
in the
more.
middle
I
of
feel like
this
that's
right
more
now,
like
don't you
my
think, Kevin?
show. And
Love and Sex Stuff is their show.
Right.
P.S. I Love You is
I
our
thought
show.
Love and Sex Stuff. No, never mind.
Discontinued. Done.
No, I just like the
It's on
15
hiatus.
episodes with the same costumes. That was my favorite part of last season.
Fantastic. And here,
18
the midlife baller himself, Matt Scarpino.
Hello, everyone.
Making your glorious return to this show.
One of the few
yes, super
to make
excited.
2 appearances.
Number deuce.
It's like
Gary
you,
Whitta.
Gary Whitta, you.
And you.
Yes, in the new studio.
That you built.
I did build this.
No, Damon's only done one.
As you can see by the
Yeah.
video.
Andrea did one. She's done a lot of games casts.
Yeah.
We're never getting Michael Rosenbaum back. He's too
not?
popular now. He's too popular now. No, now he's
fun.
We got him when he was like, I don't know what's going on.
plays a priest on TV now.
Now he's on a season 2 of his very popular TV show. He makes 100 episodes. They get that thing in syndication. We never see him again. It's over.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Then he's not really in the community.
No, don't throw
climbing
stones. He's a
team?
good.
I'm
He
just
still
saying.
he still tweets back at the kids and me and every so often.
Oh, okay.
All right, calm down.
He's a Rangers fan.
He needs to come back on the show.
Now, if somebody had missed your episode before, you are of course Nick's brother.
Still.
Yeah.
Always.
That-
Since I've known him.
Yeah, that's how it'll be the rest of
I've
us.
known Nick, again, this is my joke from last time, about 37 years.
Yeah, roughly. Give or take a few
Are
months.
you 30? No.
Almost, genuinely.
You're almost 37.
37, I know.
Yes, and I'm almost 41.
Isn't that fucking weird?
It's weird to be 40, especially because I
Kevin's
share
only
your
23.
problems of pooping, but I'm older than you.
Yeah,
So
I have
as
no
Chris
excuse.
can attest, he's like, my God, he goes through so many CVS butt wipes in a day, 3 to 4 packs. But I like to be show ready at all times.
What do you do when you go on a plane with those things? Do they have to have their own suitcase?
It's very awkward when you're in the line and you're like, here's my laptop, here's my butt wipes.
Yeah.
But they just say baby. They say fresh wipes.
They say CVS
Yeah,
fresh
if
wipes.
they
Yeah,
say
but
ba- if
everybody
they say baby
knows
wipes
what
and
they
you don't
are.
have a baby with you.
and the baby comes out of your other pocket, and here's my baby.
No, it's super awkward because I go to the CVS by my house and I usually buy all the single packs. And so I have the little basket and I always have to buy something else.
Why don't you just buy them off Amazon like bulk in the single bags?
I might have to do that because the woman's like, do you take care of somebody that like older? Do you take care of an older woman?
Incontinent?
Do you have an incontinent animal? And I'm like, no, I shit like a FedEx driver, like all the time. I'm like a FedEx driver. No, I don't know. I'm delivering.
This is what we deal with.
I'm
Nick.
delivering the
It's
package
hereditary.
all the time. It's horrible. It's
hereditary.
horrible.
And I got FedEx. I like that. I'm gonna figure that one out. We're gonna reverse engineer that one.
Here's what
That
popped
one.
into my head. What popped into my head was UPS and Brown. Like, what fucking can Brown do for you? Like Brown.
So then you went to
poop.
FedEx.
Then I said FedEx for some ungodly
Brown,
reason because I was
UPS
thinking,
is too obvious.
Yeah.
FedEx.
Yeah,
That's where I was
I
going
would
with
think
that.
Less
FedEx
brown.
drivers have to poop in the bushes a lot, and then they have to use a little wipes there.
I would shit in the back of the truck.
Yeah, hell
if
yeah.
I had
Wait,
to.
have you guys ever
That's a
seen the
good
bus
point.
drivers'
That's a good point.
toilets? Like the public toilets, the only bus drivers.
Yeah,
use?
like the little booths that they like key in on.
It's
No,
eerie,
where
it's
is
weird.
this?
Oh, they're all
They're
over
all
the
over the
city.
place.
They're
Pay
just hidden
attention.
in the city. Like the bus will just
secret
pull
shit.
over and dude will just run out real quick and open a little door, and that's his shitter.
Okay, that's weird.
It's weird.
to know where's
It's like either in like a public building or a little stone structure out in the middle of nowhere.
There's
that you
one-
wouldn't think was a. It's like camouflaged in the rest of the stone structures.
It's
and
like-
then just like a little dude walks out and he gets back on his bus.
There's
and
one by
he's
the
like,
Dorian in the marina. I saw a guy going in, and what I respected about him a few weeks ago, I was walking the dog, and he knocked before he went in, just in case he was walking in on another driver also pooping.
That's good for them. They gotta poop.
everybody poops.
Did someone
Everybody
just?
does. I love that
What
book.
was that
Favorite
noise?
book. I get that for everyone that has
Did
a
someone
kid.
just vibrate? Are you
Everybody
vibrating?
poops. It's funny and true.
Something sounded weird.
No.
I just caught in stereo between two Scarpinos.
I'm sorry.
Nightmare.
I'm sorry. I just heard a vibration over here and I didn't know what it was. Okay.
If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Game Over Greggy show each and every week. 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table. Each bring a random topic of discussion for your amusement. If you like that, head over to patreon.com/kindafunny, where you can get the show early along with a bunch of exclusive goodies and perks and things like that. If you don't have any bucks to toss our way, no big deal. Head over to youtube.com/kindafunny, where we post the entire show topic by topic, day by day, until it goes up as one big thing the following Friday on YouTube and podcast services around the globe. Colin, you demanded to go first.
I did because
What do you got for
because
me?
I think it's an important one to go first, especially because I wanted to get out there as soon as possible. Some weeks ago on the show, before Nick went to Europe, to see Harry Potter, we talked a little bit about the election, and I wanted to touch base with you guys one more time before we're going to touch base again right before the election.
Okay.
So the election's in 3 weeks from the day we're recording this. So in 3 weeks we'll touch base on it one last time.
And for context, this is being recorded before the final debate tomorrow.
Exactly. The final debate's in Las Vegas tomorrow.
Tim, you keeping up with this timeline?
He has documents.
Is that your election binder?
That's my election. This is my this is actually
God,
my
how
notebook.
great would that be if you had every year a different
No,
notebook?
it's my notebook. Just sits
I
on
was
my
like,
desk where I
You
have
know he
everything.
has a notebook for every different thing. Like
God.
one for the elections, one for the
his-
Jets, one for the
his
Islanders,
sausages.
one for the sausages, one for his low protein, his low carb diet right now.
One for the poops about that come out
Yeah,
of the low carb diet. So I wanted to just touch base. I wanted to just propose. Last time when we did it, I gave you guys a few stats of where the election was sitting now, and then kind of got your thoughts on it. I want to talk about 2 things in particular when you guys are done, because I want to touch base on something that I think has not been touched upon too much. But there are 2 articles or 2 people talking about things that I want to discuss in a little while. But before we go, before we go there, I wanted to see what you guys think of what's happening here. I went to 538 today. We talked about them last time. It's Nate Silver's website. They're predicting, like a pretty on-point predicting website. Gives it 87.6% chance that Clinton will win.
Jesus.
Which is
Really?
up significantly.
That's
up
crazy.
almost 40 points in a month. They predict that the popular vote will be 49.7% Clinton, 42.7% Trump, 6.1% Johnson. There's a 26.7% chance that Clinton will win in a landslide, and there's a 91.7% chance that Clinton will win in win the popular vote.
That's wild.
Wild
And that
money?
is as of when? When did you get those stats?
This morning.
Okay, crazy.
7 polls came out recently. NBC News has Clinton +6, Rasmussen +1 for Clinton, CBS News +9 for Clinton, LA Times +2 for Trump. Monmouth has Clinton up 12. ABC Wall Street Journal has Clinton up 4, and NBC Wall Street Journal has Clinton up 11. ABC News and Washington Post have unfavorable ratings at 63% for Clinton and 57% for Trump. And strong moral character, 45% think Clinton has a strong moral character, 30% think Trump has a strong moral character. Qualified to be president, 59% think Clinton is qualified to be president, 39% think Trump is qualified to be president. 62% of Americans think that you cannot trust Hillary Clinton. So those are some of the interesting statistics that I dug up recently. So where do we all sit right now?
So I have a question. So 538. How accurate were their pollings and all their, surveys and shit going into this? So like over the last year, because I feel like, with politics, they've always been doing this stuff and they're usually fairly accurate. But I feel like every time we've talked about this election in the last year, it's always just been that like this is unpredictable and that everything's wrong and Trump kept winning. Were they one of those people? Did they get things right? Or?
I don't know. I did not read. So my suspicion is that they probably got most of the primaries right, but primaries are much more unpredictable. As far as I know, in 2012, which is when they really made a name for themselves, they got every state right in the general election. I think Indiana might have been the difference there or something like that. But they got at least 49 states right, which is good. That's how they made their name, and ESPN bought them later. Primary politics, way more unpredictable, so I don't know exactly that. But they're basically just reading the tea leaves in the polling. They're not doing their own unique polling. They're just looking at everything, all the information, and then and people should go. It's really interesting. They have a very interesting aggregate of like all these kind of graphical ways of looking at the election. It's very interesting, and it's swung completely to Clinton. And I agree. I think it's pretty clear Clinton's going to win. But I'm curious what you guys what are the thoughts? How's everyone feeling after the sexual tapes with Billy Bush came out and the WikiLeaks stuff with Julian Assange and John Podesta and all that kind of stuff? Have you guys been keeping up with this? And do we still feel, as we did a few weeks ago, that there were some differences at the table that Trump or Clinton would win? I'm curious what everyone thinks about that.
I mean, after the second debate, I think that it really furthered my thoughts on the whole situation in terms of I feel like the second debate was even more than the first, where it was an absolute victory for Clinton. And if you're not even looking at that side, it was a definite loss for Trump. Like, I feel like he even at some point said this feels like a 3-on-1, and I feel like it was that way. It's like I felt like even the moderators were against him, and I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. I feel like they kept making points because he just wasn't answering the questions, and so they would keep badgering him to answer the questions. And unfortunately, I think that he can use that as an advantage, because all he needs to say is bring it up like, oh, it's a 3-on-1, and then all the people that are rooting for him are just going to be like, yeah, like that is what makes him win. But it's like, really, that isn't a victory that matters. It unfortunately could be a victory that does matter if there's enough of those people that see it that way. I hope there's not, but that's where I'm at.
Well, that's what he's been running on the entire time, right? Is that whole just ability to spin doctor things and just kind of turn things back around on people while not actually answering any questions. And I think that people are starting to get kind of tired of that. But it's weird, though, because as the sort of moderates get tired of it, the hardcores get more solidified in their beliefs about him, right? And like it just did I just read another news story. One of the women that came out against Trump had to leave the country because she was being harassed so badly by his followers, or his supporters rather. And it's like, granted, that's a whole other situation that warrants its own investigation. But that's insane. That's insane that people who are like that on that level, and a lot of people draw this parallel. I don't necessarily draw the parallel, but I can see where they get it from, where they're like, this is sort of a Hitler-esque tactic, that you're rallying your base so much that people are scared of them. And that is a very, very frightening thing. And I'm actually kind of very, very glad that Trump's losing a lot of ground, simply because it was funny at first, but really the man has not answered one question yet. Really, he has no stance on anything. He's racist, and apparently it's up for debate, but he's a womanizer. So
is he?
Well, he treats women like shit, apparently. But I mean, I don't know. Those are the accusations, right? No, like he is saying no. There are multiple women that have come out of the woodworks and said he does treat them like, he has at one point either sexually harassed them or molested them in some way. And we've obviously heard him that he's suing the New York Times. We've also obviously heard him defend himself, but it's hard to defend yourself when you have a recording of you saying horrible things. Now, granted, I think the recording, like, I'll give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt for the quote unquote locker room talk, because we are all guys and we say stupid shit like that when we're in each other's confidence. And if someone were to record that and take it out of context, I can understand how people would be pissed.
I would be screwed.
But I think he takes
Luckily,
it a
you
step.
just say it on your podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I'm not running for president.
That's the thing. You're not running for
Yeah,
president.
yeah, I know.
But if you did, you actually could probably get all the way to the primaries if you wanted to.
Why? Because I like to grab vagina, whatever his time.
know.
Well,
It
yeah,
was-
it's
it
horrible. I mean, I don't even use that the phrasing. And
Not.
I mean, I don't
not
go to
now.
locker rooms
I
anymore.
don't use
but
that phrasing.
I don't use I don't
When
use that
Matt's
phrase.
grabbing his wife's pussy.
oh, thank God she doesn't listen to the show.
So I don't know, but I mean, again, I'll be the
just
first
depends
person to
on
say
how you come in.
I have way more paid attention to the negative on Trump than the negative on Clinton, which is funny because depending on which news outlet you're watching, it's either one is the second coming of the devil or the other is the second coming of the devil. Like they're all like, if you watch Fox, it's all about how all the WikiLeaks with Clinton, and if you watch CNN, it's how Trump is literally Hitler. So I don't really know. All I know is that in no fucking world that I want to live in no reality that I want to live in, is Trump our president. And that terrifies me. And the fact that the fact that we would even think about electing that fucking living Muppet is just beyond me. Like, think about who this person is. He has been an ongoing joke in mainstream American culture for the last 30 years, ever since I was born in the 80s. He was this joke of an investor, billionaire guy, this crazy guy. And to think that if you had told me 20 years ago that guy was going to be running for president and might get it, I'd be like, you're out of your fucking mind. Go check yourself into a wacko bin.
He did win the match against Vince McMahon and shaved his head. So.
It's true, yeah.
That's true. And he also helped that McAllister kid find his way
Yeah,
home.
he did that too.
So that's
He's helped many an apprentice get on their feet.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. This is my problem. Is I have my ballots, I have my mail-in ballots, and so I have to figure out this weekend, not necessarily this weekend, but that's the designated time my wife has said we are voting. I'm sure Matt's familiar with this. You're the only other married person here.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I got a Google email, like a Google message, calendar invite saying it's time we're gonna vote on Saturday.
Oh no, yeah, I have a little place. Yeah, there's a place in my neighborhood. I'm not.
I like to go out on the day, election day.
Get
I don't
your
want
little
to mail it in. I want
Yeah,
the
yeah,
sticker.
yeah, yeah.
I want to go. We live in an awkward thing where you go to just some rando garage, somebody's house.
No one even knows who they're
Bunch of
really counting.
16-year-olds working it. They don't ask for anything. Which one are you? You point at your name. Go vote. Okay, great.
Yeah, but there's no voter fraud.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing. I got to make the decision. I don't know if I can vote for Clinton, so I might have to go third party. I don't know. We'll see. If Gary Johnson
why?
wasn't so fucking crazy, because Clinton's, I don't trust her either, man. I mean, like. She's done some crazy shit. There's a lot of speculation out there as to whether she's had a guy killed. Like there's shit like that you're like, it's
Big
it
Kev
could be
Dog's
bullshit,
popping up.
but it also could be bullshit that Trump didn't molest these women. Like,
But I mean, like that. But those aren't hand in hand. It's like I feel like the Trump stuff is like clearly you're not voting for Trump, right? So it's like then with Clinton, it's more about questioning all that stuff and deciding whether or not you.
well,
can
and
do
that's
that.
what I have to do. I have to actually go back and I haven't really paid too closely attention to her platform, so I have to go back and actually look. I don't think I voted Democrat. Yeah, I did. I voted for Obama. So
Obama.
I'm not against voting Democrat. I just don't. There's something about the Clintons that I just don't trust. There's something about a governor of Arkansas that rises to be president of the United States and has there's lots of conspiracy theories as to him being tied to drug runners and shit like that. And then all of a sudden a whistleblower for the DNC gets killed outside of the party headquarters. It's like this crazy shit that's happened underneath the Clintons' kind of iron rule. So I'm not saying that it's good or right or wrong to vote for them, but it does give you pause, like on both sides. And I don't know whether or not it's that these two people are particularly despicable or that there's just so much free information running out there that we know everything now, and that every candidate that's running is fucking crazy. Like the shit that I've heard Gary Johnson say, you're like, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's one
It's
word.
crazy shit. But I don't know. So I got to do my research this weekend and probably vote for Clinton.
Greg, no change. Got to stop Trump. Voting Clinton. Gave her money after that first debate. Liked her performance. From everything I saw in the little things of debate 2, I was in Canada at the time. Seems like she did well there too. But again, it was more just give Trump all the rope in the world to hang himself. And then everything else continues. And you're just like, this is some kind of waking nightmare. I don't know how this is still happening and what's going on
here. It makes you
here.
feel crazy, right?
Yeah.
Because you're like, I don't understand how other people can look at that and be like, yeah. You're like, this is a fucking psychopath. Like, he is a megalomaniac, socio-psychopath. Like, sitting on stage and we've given him a fucking microphone, and people are like, yeah, this guy speaks for me. It's like, Jesus Christ. Like, is really that there's that much of this country that is completely prejudiced, bigoted, and racist. Like they want to get behind this guy. It's
We'll
fucking
get
nuts.
into that in a minute because that's the stuff I want to talk about in a little while. But to both your points, because you guys were talking about the debate, you guys are actually in the significant minority of people that think that Clinton won that debate.
But you're talking about pundits, right?
Yeah,
I bring up the pundits. The thing I saw from all my friends was Clinton. Now,
You're
granted,
incredibly biased.
Echo chamber.
Clinton friends. I walked away from both debates thinking that they were both draws. And those were unpopular opinions. I was actually really surprised when I walked away from the second debate, and I'm like, I seemed like that was actually one of Trump's stronger performances, but I'd still call it a draw because Clinton is a strong performer. When I was watching a lot of the punditry and reading a lot of the things, especially from a lot of liberals, they were like, that was Trump's best performance, and Clinton clearly didn't win that debate.
I don't think those things are like the. I think that was one of his better performances. I think that she's still completely trounced.
Well, she outclasses him a lot.
She looks like
She
an
looks
adult.
like a president.
He was very strong, and I actually think I have to watch it again, and I will because I'm weird, but he had her frazzled like multiple times, and the shit he was doing
broke though.
No, but the shit he was doing was working.
That's
So
'cause he kept
which makes me
sneaking behind her.
I like Saturday Night Live.
Threatening to get her arrested was like the most like wow shots fired thing ever.
That was
And it's like,
extremely-
that's a guy that's running to be president, and anyone can look at that and be like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I tweeted out about that too. I found that quite troubling. Tim's referring to when Trump said that he would have a special prosecutor looking at Clinton if he was elected. Seems a bit of a totalitarian kind of thing to do. That's the right, of course, the president and the prerogative of Congress to do that kind of thing. But I don't think that you should be threatening your opponent in a presidential race to jail. It does reek of totalitarianism. Matt, do you have any thoughts? Because you weren't here last time. Obviously, what do you think's gonna? What are your feelings?
Here's the thing. I mean, I have not been. I'll be honest with you. I actually don't vote.
Really?
Yes, that's why I was really. Okay, don't kill Jesus. God,
No,
look at that. No, because your eyes just like.
Oh no, I'm just.
Colin went to a dark place for a second.
No, I
He's
know.
back.
Yeah,
He's
did
fine.
you see him?
He's back,
He went
yeah.
to no, like literally.
That is your prerogative. I don't
This-
believe in compulsory voting, so that's your prerogative.
Right. So my problem is that I have been actually paying attention a little bit now, but I don't know who I would vote for because I'm scared of both choice, like really primary choices. Like I don't know. Like some of me thinks like if Hillary Clinton did get in trouble, do you think she would just go home and be like, what would you do, buddy? Since you kind of had this helm, and he's like, I would just get a blowjob. No, but do you know what I mean? Like basically, would she actually make her own decisions or not? And basically, would she, or I don't know. It's a mind fuck. I can't believe Trump is actually running either. I can't believe that.
Well, I mean, that's the thing with
I
the
can't-
president,
it's
right?
just-
It's like you don't expect
it's a
the president
joke.
to know everything, and that's why they put together a team.
No,
of
they have the
people
whole
who
team,
can-
but I mean, like,
who can support them. And you better
is
bet
he
that bill
just
will probably
running
be
to
there.
make her look better? I don't. Does he really want to be president? I don't know. It's a mind fuck for me.
Who, Trump?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
Would he really be? I mean,
We'll
if he
never know.
won,
We'll
what the
never know,
fuck would he do?
Because he's a liar, and even if he said that later, no one would believe him. Even if he said later, he's like, I started this as a joke, but now it's real. Who the fuck cares? It doesn't matter. It's a
spent a lot of
reality,
money.
and it's a
Well, it is
possibility,
reality,
and everyone
yeah.
should realize that.
Yeah, no, I know. You can judge me.
I'm not judging. I didn't expect that from
Why?
you.
What would you have expected for me to
expect you
come
to
out
vote.
swinging?
No, not to have a solid opinion or whatever.
No.
I expect you to vote.
I mean, I might, but
Scarpino's not very political family.
here's my. Well, that's not. Lately, that's not true.
That's true.
You and I don't give a shit sometimes, but let's get Dad on the show and Colin will fall asleep.
I mean, everyone will fall asleep. If we
I
get
think everybody will fall asleep. They'll be like this.
I love my
They'll just
father to death.
Patreon will just pause
dad
for
will go
like
down
10
a-
minutes while people are like, "Is this really an exclusive? Holy shit!"
Yeah, they were like, so
Yeah.
I learned a lot about taxes today.
and spreadsheets.
And spreadsheets. I know Excel.
Spreadsheets. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Something I want to like talk to you guys about. So both of you brought up the idea of being scared of both the people. I don't really understand. Like being scared of Trump, I understand, but being scared of Clinton, like she just seems like more of the same to me. Where it's just all right, she's just more of the same that we've always had, and it's like, have we been scared before of this stuff? Like,
Well, no, it's not necessarily be scared. It is one of those of just looking at her and knowing that A, she's a career politician. B, she is going to be more of the same, and that is a scary thought because more of the same has led us to the biggest economical crisis since the Great Depression, the housing crisis, and she's got huge ties to Wall Street and to bankers, things like that. So you look at her and you think, sure, we're going to put another president in the office, but is there any good that's going to come out of that, or is it just going to be stasis? Is it going to be, are we going to see something that we all thought Obama was going to be, or is it just going to be Obama? Not to say that Obama was good or bad, and I know that's not the topic, but I mean, personally, I think people give Obama a lot of shit, and I think he'll be remembered far better than people think of him right now. But for Clinton, I mean, you look at it and you're like, maybe she'll do some good stuff, maybe she won't do some good stuff. But ultimately, she's still backed by money somewhere, and that money's going to have an influence. And that influence, you better believe, is not going to go toward the American people. And that's the thing I think that's so frustrating, is that when you look at a candidate like Trump, if it just wasn't Trump, that person could actually potentially affect real change because he's not biased. He's not influenced by anyone. No one's got, they're not stuffing dollar bills into his pocket. He can do whatever the hell he wants. Now, granted, I think Donald Trump probably has a lot of friends who are in high places that would pull favors for him, so I don't think he's that candidate. But it's just disappointing to see us get that close, and then when he opens his mouth, he spouts out some of the most outrageous shit you've ever heard someone say, and that person could be the most powerful person on the planet. And make no mistake, I happen to think the president of the United States is probably the most powerful person on the planet. So think about that in terms of, think about what I just said, and then think of Donald Trump's face, and tell me that doesn't wake you up at night and terrify you. Especially when he's homies with Putin, just hanging out shirtless on a horse with Putin, just chilling, practicing judo. That's what they do.
That's what they do apparently.
In Russia.
If you didn't know, judo.
I didn't.
Russia, a hotbed for judo activity.
Yeah.
Tim Gettys.
Shirtless horseback riding.
So I'm of a similar mind that I was last time. I think Clinton's going to win. And the polls historically in political science tighten before an election. So I'm interested to see the polls in about 2 weeks. And of course the polling, like the snap polling that happens after the debate tomorrow, especially if Trump's desperate. And I think he's going to be desperate. I think the debate tomorrow is going to be pretty crazy.
Do you think we've seen the last of it? Of the chaos of the accusations?
No, because so there's no, definitely not. There's a few things that I've been talking to people recently, and people that are into this stuff like I am, and starting to draw some preliminary conclusions. And no one's gone to the ballot box yet. I think that there are definitely shy Trump voters. We went into that last time, and so I think that you can probably safely add 3 or 4 points to whatever Trump's going to poll at, and that's what he's actually going to get, because there are people that are afraid to admit that they're going to vote for him, and every Clinton voter is known, so there are no secret Clinton voters. Now, people can swing from independent or from Johnson or Jill Stein or something and vote for her or vote for him. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think it's pretty safe to assume that she's going to win. If she doesn't, the polling is so catastrophically wrong that we shouldn't even poll anymore. That's we were talking about last time about the UK and Brexit and all those kinds of how those polls were wrong. Those polls were wrong by 4, 5, 6 points. These polls will be wrong by 10 points. That means that the polling is basically just a guess at that point. Mm-hmm. So there's something to be concerned about there. With that said, what's becoming clear is that no one likes Hillary Clinton. And what I mean by that is that Hillary Clinton has this ceiling that's not even 50 points. She's not even getting half of the American people to vote for her. Hillary Clinton is going to be president because of who she's running against. She would have lost almost any reasonable candidate. And that's becoming so clear. And I was talking about that with someone recently where I was like, we knew as conservatives that this moment was going to happen, and we just thought we would have a better champion than what we ended up having, a champion so terrible that I actually left the Republican Party over it. Because I can't possibly be with Trump.
Why'd you do this to us, Mitt Romney? Why
Mitt Romney could have came in, or just almost anyone else. So, I always challenge people. They're like, I like Hillary Clinton. She's not that bad. I'm like, name one thing she did as a senator. One thing. Yeah, no one.
To be fair, I couldn't name one thing any senator's done.
Well, there's landmark legislation or things that people did. What did Hillary do other than carpetbag to my home state and use it toward a political gain? She did fucking nothing. So. That disturbs me. For a lot of New York conservatives, and there are many of us, she is a disturbing figure. Even though New York's going to vote for Hillary Clinton, it's going to be New York City that's going to vote for her. Long Island is almost certainly going to go for Trump, and upstate obviously is going to go for Trump as well. The one thing that I feel like is missing though in this election is, and I think that this is important information, this is what I wanted to talk to you guys about, is a lack of empathy for the people that vote for Trump. Now, this is something that's actually starting to annoy me. In a major way. I'm not saying that I support Donald Trump, because I don't. I don't support a lot of the things that are coming out of his mouth. I think he's clearly xenophobic. I think he's clearly sexist. And I think he clearly has bigoted tendencies. I think that's obvious. But to parlay that on an entire group of people, tens of millions of people, is, I think, becoming a troubling thing. And I think it's becoming it's troubling me with the lack of empathy and sincere concern that we have for other people in this country. And I printed out 2 things. One of them, I actually watched a video and transcribed it from this morning because I was so touched by it and so moved by it that I was like, I need to share this with what someone said about Donald Trump supporters. But above and beyond that, before we get to that, I just feel like people need to learn how to separate the candidate from the people that support that candidate, and the issues from the people that might support some issues but not other issues. The example I use all the time, and I think it's a totally salient issue, it's the same exact thing, is so people are like, well, if you vote for Trump, then you must support the things he said about Mexicans, for instance. And I'm like, okay, if you voted for Barack Obama in 2008, you were against gay marriage. If you voted for Bill Clinton in 1996, you didn't even believe that gay people should be able to serve openly in the military. We can all play that game, right? We can all certainly play that game. But sometimes people, like a candidate for certain reasons or very specific reasons, and they don't care about or they don't pay attention to, or they're so desperate that they don't care about those other issues that trouble someone like me, who's in, frankly, a much more secure place financially, who's one of the coastal elites or whatever. I'm from New York. I was educated in Boston. I live in San Francisco. I do not have a glimpse into middle America, into the Rust Belt, into blue collar America the way that a lot of Trump supporters do. And so I wanted to read this to you guys. I know some people get mad when I read things for a few minutes, but this is really important, and I want you guys to listen. There's two things here that I want you guys to hear. The first one is from Mike Barnacle. He's a writer for Boston. He's for the Boston Globe now. Liberal, unabashed liberal guy. He's on Morning Joe all the time, which is a show I really like. Was accused of plagiarism, I think, in the 90s, actually. But he's a smart dude. And here's what he said about Trump supporters today on Morning Joe. Too many people in the media, our business, coastal elites, where a lot of people live or who are in our business, don't understand the loss that's taken place in this country over the last 20 or 25 years. Specifically, if you have a 20-year-old son today serving in Iraq or Afghanistan, that child was 5 years old when this war began. That's 15, 16 years ago. Then along comes the winter of 2008 and 2009 when another loss occurs that shakes the foundation of the culture of the country. People lose homes, they lose incomes, they lose jobs, they're unemployed, they lose their 401k, they lose their life savings. And what are they thinking along in the course of these years? They're thinking this: they have no voice in government. That they are represented by a professional political class who just keep running for re-election and raising money to enhance their own futures and their own present status. But they don't talk about their lives and what do they read and what do they hear now lately in the last year. If they go to a Trump rally, they're not going to a Trump rally to listen to a guy who they sort of like what he says without paying attention to who he is. They hear and read in the papers that they're probably racist for going to the Trump rally, and that they take great offense to this, and they ought to take great offense. We don't understand their lives and we don't cover their lives. And I thought that was a really interesting and totally salient thing about Trump supporters. We here at this table don't understand what it's like to live in a Rust Belt town in Ohio where the fucking coal factory or the coal mine is shut down and everything's fucked for all of them. Everything. They live in the town. Town X in Ohio has a coal mine. The EPA rips the coal mine, doesn't allow the coal mine to exist anymore. The coal miners are out of jobs. The people that work at the convenience store are now out of jobs. The people that work at the gas station are out of jobs. All the service industries are out of jobs, and no one has any money, and they're all fucked. And all they want to hear is someone come in and blast the people that they feel like did it to them, and whether or not that they're right in that the Washington, D.C. is corrupt and the liberal policies have done this to them. It's not neither here nor there. We have to understand more about where these people come from and why they're voting for this man, and why they don't trust the political elite, and why they don't trust politicians and Washington and all these things, because they fucked them, And that's one of the things where I feel like we don't understand that in San Francisco. We don't have that problem. We have one of the most bustling economies in the entire world in this city. I don't understand that where I come from in New York, on Long Island, in the shadow of the biggest city, one of the biggest cities and most profitable cities in the world. Or I went to school in Boston, which is a very affluent, collegiate place. But I tell you right now, in Gary, Indiana, they know that. In West Virginia, they hear it. And I feel like we have to have a little more empathy for these people than to say like they're racists and they're bigots and they're xenophobes. They're not. There are some of them that are. I can point out some fucking cartoon characters on the other side too. Greg and I walked through Sugati Park during the fucking height of Occupy Wall Street. That was as cartoonish as it came off of on TV, and I think we can both agree on that there. But I never walked around and said, those people are fucking stupid. Those people are fucking pieces of shit. I looked at it and I'm like, you're wrong. You have no idea what you're talking about. And maybe you can say that about Trump supporters. But to demonize this whole group of people after an election and then expect everyone to come back into the fold, what you're going to see after this election because of this kind of shit is a very divisive country where nothing gets done. Hillary Clinton's not going to get fucking shit done.
But I mean, that is the country, and that's what's been
me.
Politics is normal forever. I do have empathy for these people. I feel fucking sorry for them. I'm sorry that they are so disenfranchised that they can be duped this easily. And the Trump supporters I do see on my Facebook are the ones I feel the most sorry for. Family members who have been duped into this fucking bullshit that is the racist bullshit, that is the racist tirade, that is posting a fucking meme asking if President Obama is a Muslim and where his birth certificate is still to this day. Like, that's what I'm talking about. That's where it comes from. Sure, you're talking talking about like demonizing this whole thing. Of course, this is the problem. This is the problem when I see these fucking people talking out their ass about the fact of like, oh, I can't believe we're letting Muslims into this country when they did this. When you're talking about, well, look at any other fucking not the Unabomber, but any other mass murderer who's a Christian. I can suddenly demonize all Christians based on the actions of one bad person spoiling the bunch. And that's the problem, is that this is never cut and dry. But when you're screaming about how terrible Trump is and that he's a bigot and that if you're going to follow him into this, you're following somebody like Hitler and it's extreme. It's too far, of course, but it's trying to talk and trying to get through to these people that have gone so far around the bend that they think that this snake oil salesman is speaking to them, that Donald Trump knows shit about Gary, Indiana, that Donald Trump knows shit about being a blue collar worker. As you know, my father, this construction worker, this blue collar guy in a union and all this other stuff. And I'm not at all, as you know, and as the listeners know, am I trying to claim that I understand what it's like to do that or be there or to be in Gary, Indiana, or be in a coal mine. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that I feel sorry for the people who have fallen for that, line of bullshit, that have looked at Trump and see him come in and are so fucked. And don't get me wrong, this is what I've been saying for years. If you watch our shit throughout the years of what I fucking hate about politics is that nothing gets done. Everyone is a grin fucker. Nobody is saying anything or making any real change here. And this is what I keep saying about what I like about this election is Bernie Sanders, is Donald Trump, not as people, not as platforms, but as things to come out and say from here on out, I really, 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 really do believe that it's going to be, all right, cool, I'm running for mayor, I'm running for Senate, I'm running for president from here on out, and I'm going to be a normal person, and I'm going to finally get back to the America and the politics you believe in, Colin, right? Because that's always been the thing with you. When I first met you and you were a Republican, I was like, how can you be a Republican? They're anti-gay, they're and you're like, well, I'm not. I don't agree on those issues. But we are so far from that part. We are so far from that America where we're talking about Colin and Greg Live today, where there can be compromise, where there can be discussion, where I can be Republican, Tim can be a Democrat, and we can come across the aisle and actually get legislation done. Because everything's fucked, and everything's been fucked forever. Nothing is going to be unfucked by this election. And that's the problem, and that's what it comes down to with this, right, is the fact that I'm voting for Hillary Clinton. I'm, of course, as everyone knows, not super briefed on the Benghazi, on this. I mean, I know I've read a headline, I've read an article here and there. I don't understand how people can hate her as much as they hate Donald Trump, but that's fine. It's beside the point. I'm not voting for her because she's the change I believe in. I fell for that with Obama. Obama was the guy when he came through and was talking about hope, and he was young and hopeful, and I was like, here we go. It's our generation's JFK. This is going to be the guy who gets back in there and brings us back together in some fucking way, and it didn't happen. And I don't put it all on him. I put it all on politics as usual. I put it all on everybody else coming in and wanting to gridlock the system and not let anything get done because nobody wants to compromise. And we are to a point where all we do is scream at each other when it comes to political shit, whether it be, and that's the whole thing with the pundits, whether it's MSNBC or Fox News or whoever, it's all the fucking same now, where everybody just talks, and none of it's worth a goddamn cent. And that's the thing here, where the problem, to back to the point, I'm sorry to get so far down on this thing, is the fact that I have empathy for these people. I feel fucking sorry for them. I understand that things have gone wrong, but you are being duped. And I think that's where the hyperbole comes out, where people start trying to say that if you follow this man, you are X. Of course not. Of course, that's some of those people are for sure. I can give you examples of those people that have done that or that I've seen or have talked to that are that. Not everyone is, but you say that trying to get to the last bastion of these people's humanity and intelligence to realize that no, you're being fucking played.
Yep. First of all, kudos to you. That was a fantastic, and I mean that with all due respect. You know.
That'd be great if it was total sarcasm.
No,
I've
never heard you get so political, and I think you hit on a lot of salient points, and a lot of important points. To me, I don't necessarily disagree with you that the people are being duped, that there are people being duped out there, and that Trump is a snake oil salesman. I think that's obvious, right? That was obvious to me very early on. I'm actually really kind of proud of myself that I bailed before he even won the primary, because I was like, and I voted for John Kasich even after he dropped out, because I'm like, he's the only reasonable person that represents some brand of republicanism the way I grew up with it. And we grew up as New York Republicans, a little bit more moderate and a little more liberal than the most Republicans. I get that. But we had Rudy Giuliani comes from New York City. He's a fucking Republican. George Pataki was our governor in New York. He's a Republican. But you wouldn't even Mitt Romney, these people are not really recognizable as Republicans anymore. And so I agree with you there. But I just don't like walking around acting like, watching one group of people think that they have the high ground on this other group of people when they do not understand them, and their vote counts just as much as another person's vote, and their opinions really do carry as much water and as much weight to me as another person's opinion, even if they're a blue collar. Because what it really comes down to a lot for me, and this is just being fucking honest, and this is putting it all on the table, is that there's a lot of fucking bigotry on the coast about people that live in the middle of the country, that might live in a trailer, that might live in a small home. you know, that might work in a fucking coal mine. You know, where the hell does your food come from? You know, where does your fuel come from? Where do your natural resources come from? They sure as hell don't come from fucking San Francisco, you know? And that's the thing where I feel like people need to like wake up to the fact that like we all need each other. And we have to figure out a new way to talk about each other and understand these people. And that's where, you know, a lot of people have been circulating to me, and I know we're going along here, but I want to end on this. I mean, I don't personally care, but because I know people get upset. There was a Cracked article by this guy named David Wong. I don't usually read Cracked, but a lot of people were linking me to this article, and so I finally read it. It's called How Half of America Lost Its Fucking Mind. And it's a really, really, really great piece, and I've cut out a few excerpts of it that I wanted to read, but I also really encourage people to go read it. And on their own view counter, it's got almost like 4 million views or something.
I even read it.
Yeah, and this really gave me a lot of perspective and almost put tears in my eyes when I was reading it, you know, in a sense, because... Well, I'll read it, and so here's what it says. And the guy David Wong, from his perspective, grew up in one of these Trump communities, and he like, you know, he's like a screenwriter or something now. He got out or whatever. He says, as a kid, visiting Chicago was like Katniss visiting the Capitol, or like Zoe visiting the city of the future in this ridiculous book. I don't know what he's talking about. Their ways are strange, and the whole goddamn world revolves around them. Every TV show is about LA or New York, maybe with some Chicago or Baltimore thrown in. When they did make a show about us, we were jokes, either wide-eyed, naive fluffballs like Parks and Recreation, and before that, Newhart. I love Newhart. Or filthy, murderous mutants, True Detective, and before that, Deliverance. You could feel the arrogance from hundreds of miles away. Nothing that happens outside of the city matters, they say at their cocktail parties, blissfully unaware of where their food is grown. Hey, remember when Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans? Kind of weird that a big hurricane hundreds of miles across managed to snipe one specific city and avoid anything else. To watch the news or the multiple movies and TV shows about it, you'd barely hear about how the storm utterly steamrolled rural Mississippi, killing 238 people and doing an astounding $125 billion in damage. But who cares about those people, right? What's newsworthy about a bunch of toothless hillbillies crying over a flattened trailer? New Orleans is culturally important. It matters. To those ignored, suffering people, Donald Trump is a brick chucked through the window of the elites. Are you assholes listening now? That was one section he wrote. And the second one says, they're getting the shit kicked out of them. I know, I was there. Step out of the side of the city and the suicide rates among young people fucking doubles. The recession pounded rural communities, but all the recovery went to the cities. The rate of new businesses opening in rural areas has utterly collapsed. See, rural jobs used to be based around one big local business, a factory, a coal mine, etc. When it dies, the town dies. Where I grew up, it was an oil refinery closing that did us in. I was raised in the hollowed out shell of what the town had once been. The roof of our high school leaked when it rained. Cities can make up for the loss of manufacturing jobs with service jobs. Small towns cannot. That model doesn't work below a certain population density. If you don't live in one of these small towns, you can't understand the hopelessness. The vast majority of people's possible careers involve moving to the city, and around every city is a now 100-foot wall called cost of living. Let's say you're a smart kid making $8 an hour at Walgreens and aspire to greater things. Fine, get ready to move yourself and your new baby into a 700 square foot apartment for $1,200 a month, and to then pay double what you're paying now for utilities, groceries, and babysitters. Unless, of course, you're planning to move to one of those neighborhoods. And those in quotes. In the city, you can plausibly aspire to start a band or become an actor or get a medical degree. You can actually have dreams. In a small town, there may be no venues for performing arts aside from country music bars and churches. There may be only 2 doctors in town. Aspiring to that job means waiting for one of them to retire or die. You open the classifieds and all the job listings will be for fast food or convenience stores. The downtown is just the corpses of mom and pop shops left shattered in Walmart's blast crater. The suburbs are trailer parks. There are parts of these towns that look post-apocalyptic. I'm telling you, the hopelessness eats you alive. And if you dare complain, some liberal elite will pull out their iPad and type up a rant about your racist white privilege. Already someone has replied to this with a comment saying, you should try living in a ghetto as a minority. Exactly. To them, it seems like the plight of poor minorities is only used as a club to bat away white cries for help. Meanwhile, the rate of rural white suicides and overdoses skyrockets. Shit, at least politicians act like they care about the inner cities. And then the final thing he said, and these are fragments. It really does feel like the worst of both worlds. All the ravages of poverty, but none of the sympathy. Quote, blacks burn police cars and those liberal elites say it's not their fault because they're poor. My son gets jailed and fired over a baggie of meth, and those same elites make jokes about his missing teeth, end quote. You're everyone's punching bag, one of society's last remaining safe comedy targets. They take it hard. These are people who come from a long line of folks who took pride in looking after themselves. Where I'm from, you weren't a real man unless you could repair a car, patch a roof, hunt your own meat, and defend your home from an intruder. It was a source of shame to be dependent on anyone, especially the government. You mowed your own lawn and fixed your own pipes when they leaked. You hauled your own firewood in your own pickup truck. The rural folk with the Trump signs in their yards say their way of life is dying, and you smirk and say what they really mean is that blacks and gays are finally getting equal rights and they hate it. But I'm telling you, they say their way of life is dying because their way of life is dying. It's not their imagination. No movie about the future portrays it as being full of traditional families, hunters, and coal mines. Well, except for the Hunger Games, and now is depicted as an apocalypse. So yes, they vote for the guy promising to put things back the way they were, the guy who'd be a wake-up call to the Blue Islands. They voted for the brick through the window. It was a vote of desperation. And that piece really almost made me cry when I was reading it. And it's uncracked, and he makes jokes in there and every once in a while. But if you even read the comments, a lot of people are like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck that's like. You know, what do I know? I come from Long Island. I grew up in a house with a 2-car garage. You know, like these people wouldn't have never even swam in an in-ground pool that was in my backyard. You know, and all I'm trying to say is, are there bad people amongst them? Yes, you can find plenty of videos of people spouting terrible shit about Muslim people or black people or whatever at these rallies. But I'm telling you, most of those people that go through those doors are just people like you and me trying to get by, you know? And they have everything working against them. And so all I ask people out there to say is like, show a little bit of fucking empathy for these people, you know? Especially after the election. There's no reason to gloat and there's no reason to fucking parade around because you're just going to make it fucking worse. And if that kind of shit happens, Donald Trump will be back. And I'm not saying someone like Donald Trump will be back. I'm saying Donald Trump will be back. And if things do not go right by 2020, he will win. And he'll come back in 2018 and be like, I fucking told you, you know, exactly what was going to happen, and he'll win. So we have to heal these divides in this country that go far beyond race or sex and all these things, these terrible things. And Donald Trump, I'm not saying Donald Trump's a good man. I'm not saying Donald Trump is saying anything that's right. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I understand where these people are coming from a lot more than I did a year ago. And I have a lot of fucking empathy for them, and I feel bad for them. And we can sit around and say like, oh, us college educated people, you guys are being duped, but that's their fucking reality. And
I just don't, I mean, I agree, like every single thing in that article, I understand and makes sense to me. What I don't understand is what's Donald Trump saying to them. Like
Donald Trump says to them, Donald Trump comes in and says like, the EPA is going to crush your coal mine. You know, I'll keep it open. And everyone in that town's like, great, now I don't have to be fucked anymore. You know? Mm-hmm. Or he goes into a manufacturing town and says like, Carrier Air Conditioner left Indianapolis and fired 3,000 people. We're going to start charging them with tariffs so that they don't leave anymore. And then you don't have to be fucked anymore. Those 3,000 people that lost their jobs, let's say all of them have nuclear families of 3 other people. That's 12,000 people that are being affected by this. So not only the people that work at Carrier are going to be with him, now their wives are going to be with him, now their aunt is going to be with them, their grandma, their mom. It doesn't, I really feel like because of an inherently racist, or I'm sorry, not racist, an inherently biased media that is completely in the tank for Clinton. I've never seen anything like it. Totally, the WikiLeaks shit's coming out, all this shit's coming out, all they want to talk about is Donald Trump. Right? They'll do anything. The 3 versus 1 thing where you said that was fair, that's not fair. You know, they didn't challenge anything Clinton said. They didn't ask anything about.
She answered questions. He didn't answer questions. They were challenging him answering the question.
Yeah, but
they were moderating, asking questions. She'd answer. He wouldn't answer.
Yeah, but he
would just say emails. But she was saying,
arrest you. She was saying things that weren't true too, though. I mean, PolitiFact played that out, and they could have easily gone after her. I'm not saying
a question about, but she answered them, whether or not it was true or not. She answered it. He didn't answer the things. The thing about there's a difference here to me where it's like nobody is voting for Clinton because she might have killed someone or whatever, and because of the Benghazi and because of all this. There are people voting for Donald Trump because he's a bigot and racist. Sure. That's disturbing.
Sure, there absolutely are. I'm just saying that you can't paint with a broad brush this entire group of people that are fucking desperate. That's all I'm trying to say. Like, they're just desperate, you know? And so, like I said, there are some racists and some bigots and all those kinds of things. That's going to happen in a more conservative, frankly, society where they don't want societal change. They don't want gay marriage. They don't want I understand that. I'm not defending it. All I'm saying is that, like, we have to, like, people in general have to stop giving these people the finger. You know, like, bring them along with us. This is what I always said about gay marriage. When I've been a long time supporter of gay marriage, long before anyone in the Republican Party was for it. And what's so ironic about someone like Donald Trump is he stood at the I couldn't even believe this, where he stood at the convention talking about how he wants gay and lesbian rights, how he wants all these things, and I was like, what? Like, you have to be the guy that fucking says this first, not someone that can win. You know, like so.
Well, don't count him out yet. He very well might.
So to me, it's just like, I want to just speak out there to all those people. I'm not defending anything that he said. my own record is clear. Like I spoke with my feet by walking away from a party that I once worshipped growing up, that I once really believed in. And it doesn't exist anymore. And I recognize and acknowledge that. And I want to be part of rebuilding the GOP or rebuilding a new party that speaks for people like me. So I'm not saying that Donald Trump's the answer. And I'm not saying Donald Trump's going to fix these guys. He walks in, he doesn't know the first thing about getting the EPA off those coal mines. That's not what's important. What he's saying is that he's going to do it. And since what you were saying was that it doesn't matter if she's telling the truth, well, it certainly doesn't matter if he is either. These people are hearing what they want to hear. And when they go to a rally to hear the man say, your car, the car manufacturers are not going to invert anymore, or whatever's going on, invert their businesses and go to another country to save money or whatever. They just want a job. They just want a career. They don't want a bureaucrat in Washington saying, we'll give you, hey, 55-year-old man that worked at a car company for 30 years, we're gonna train you to do something else. The guy's like, I'm 55. I just want a secure job so I can retire like I was promised, 30 years ago. He's not out to hurt a gay person. He's not out to hurt a black person. He doesn't even care. I really feel like the normal person that's voting for them, and I just want to show empathy for those people.
I hear you.
It's not even sympathy; it's just empathy.
It's sympathy for me, and it's feeling sorry for them again. And I think what you're saying is they just want this. And for me, a lot of times, and what this is coming down to with Trump supporters that aren't in the I'm crazy racist whatever camp, is that they just want the easy answer. And none of this has easy answers. And my example of this is like we're talking now about something I do know incredibly well when living in Missouri, in the liberal town of Columbia, Missouri, then going out to Hallsville, going out to Mexico, Missouri, going out to Boonville and covering for the newspaper, whether it was the Columbia Tribune, whether it was the Columbia Missourian, and living in that community for 5.5 years and knowing what it's like to go to Hallsville and have that be a town that fucking revolves around the basketball team and Friday night football, or going to Hermantown and it's all about the wineries and all these different things, right? Like I'll never forget being in downtown Boonville where they were having a rally to try to stop the Walmart from moving in or whatever, the new Walmart they wanted to put out there or whatever. And I'm doing my job as a reporter. I'm being objective. This is taking the rally side, getting the Walmart side, putting it all together for my article. But the fact of how terrified these people were about this coming in and taking out the small town business. Now, granted, it's hard to give you structure. Boonville, it's been a while. We'll say 30 minutes outside of downtown Columbia, not far. And in Columbia, there's now, I think, 5 Walmarts, maybe 4 supercenters. I don't know. It all runs together because I don't live there anymore. But at the time, Boonville, not far from a Walmart, to put a Walmart down there. But the terror in the main street, and they're already being closed up shops, and then being there saying, like, this is going to be so bad for local businesses, da-da-da-da-da. The problem is that it's what we always talk about, and I'm being very reductive here, obviously. These are huge problems, but it's what we talk about with video games, of vote with your wallet. The reason Boonville's Main Street collapses is the fact that the community stops going to Main Street. They go to Walmart. If everybody who's at this rally is like, I'm not going to go to Walmart because it's easier and it's cheaper and it's this, I will go to Hank's toolbox down here and get whatever the hammer I need that keep Hank in business. But when they give up the ground and they go and they have that one moment where they're like, oh, I'm already here and I'm buying something else, I might as well get the hammer here and not go to Hank's. That's when everything starts collapsing upon itself. I feel like it's the same thing. Now I'm stupid, as everyone knows. I'm not throwing that out there. I don't have a business degree. I don't have a community management degree or some shit like that where I can tell you how the people who are getting laid off from Carrier are able to do that. I would say don't buy Carrier products anymore, start a revolution and a campaign and do all these different things to try to stop that. But it's when you look to somebody, one person, to be the solution to that, when Trump would clearly come in and I doubt would keep the coal mine open or have the power to, probably through a million other things. But then on top of that, the fact of like how, as a businessman whose ties are made in China and all this other, he's clearly just fucking lying. In the why I understand he sounds like the easy answer, but the solution here is that there are no easy answers, and it's the same thing with the divide we're talking about. You know what I mean? Even what you're saying of bring those people along with us, get them. I think that's when people are saying he's a racist. How can you follow this guy and not be a racist? They're not trying to say they're the racists. They're trying to wake somebody up to get on their side and do it. It's not the best way, obviously. It's going to get closer and closer, and the ads get worse and worse, and the fervor gets worse and worse, and the debates are going to get worse and worse. That gets to this really, crazy tipping point. But then it is going to be the thing that you're talking about is like, if there's a fucking God, Donald Trump loses, right? And then it's going to be that he's still going to be spouting all this hate and trying to rally those troops. And it's going to be what does that. What I hope happens is what you're saying is like, yeah, his people are disenfranchised. And let's say even Trump wins, Clinton's people are disenfranchised. I'm hoping that when we get 4 years from now, we do have a candidate who is what we're talking about, who is let's bring this together. This is the good and that's bad, and I realize I should think are both are good, but they're not. You know what I mean? Like, hopefully this is the wake up call, and if it is that Trump loses, I hope his disenfranchised base can find somebody who is giving real answers and real solution and real ideas.
Yeah. I feel like, I felt like with Bernie Sanders, who brought out a lot of vitriol on me because I thought he was just so off base. I felt like a lot of the things that he spoke to with people were very similar to what Trump says in the same vein. It's just that those people were from Massachusetts. Those people were from California. Those people were from Oregon. Those people weren't from necessarily Iowa. I'm not saying that they didn't exist there.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is like they were coastal elites talking to other coastal elites, and it's like a whole thing where it's like those kids were desperate too. But the difference is like I didn't go around walking around calling them Bolsheviks. Like I didn't walk around calling them, Stalin. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the difference. I think Bernie Sanders is fucking wrong. And I think the people that like followed him really were like, had a similar hopelessness about similar college debt or about how they're going to afford their health care and all those kinds of things. But I still had deep in me sympathy. I even had sympathy for me when
you call them like socialists, right? Which I mean, like, I know some of his policies are socialism.
He is
or
a
whatever.
socialist.
But I mean, like but then you're throwing that on the people who are supporting him and aren't socialists.
Sure.
Isn't that the same idea of them getting rallied up and then they're just taking that as bile? Not to the level of you're a fucking racist and you're a bigot and da da da.
Yeah, but I mean, socialist isn't necessarily a pejorative, and we have pieces of socialism in the United States. I mean, anyone can deny that. What I used to make fun of was when everyone was calling everything socialism when Bernie Sanders was running. I'm like, I'm sorry, the military is not socialist. The Romans weren't really socialists. I hate to tell you. So, I feel like, I've been guilty of it too in my own way, but never to the degree that I see. Never, ever to the degree that I see people talk about Trump supporters. And all I'm saying is these are human beings that mean just as much as you and I, that have the same dreams and aspirations. At the end of the day, everyone just wants a security. They want a job. They want a family that they can take care of and support. And so all I ask out there, it's the same thing where it's like the vitriol goes too far sometimes. It's fun to play games. And I talk plenty of shit about the candidate, Bernie Sanders. And I've talked plenty of shit about Donald Trump, the candidate. And I've talked plenty of shit about Hillary Clinton, the candidate. But I didn't trivialize tens of millions of people by reducing them to a fascist movement in Nazi Germany, for instance. You know what I mean? Everyone's saying like, I'm like, yeah, I see shades of fascism in what Trump does. I don't see shades of fascism in the Republican Party. I don't see shades of fascism in many of the supporters that don't even know what that means, right? This isn't the Weimar Republic, and Trump isn't Hitler. So like, we have to kind of ground those kinds of things and just learn a new way to talk to each other. And I want to put the foot forward with that as well. I can learn from that. I'm not trying to say I'm above reproach either, but I've certainly not thrown around the level of vitriol I've seen thrown around at Trump supporters, calling them fucking stupid and ignorant and rednecks and all these kinds of things. Hey dude, like, that's not cool. You know what I mean? Like, that's just like, at some point, like, you wouldn't want to be where they are. And that was the point of the Cracked article, is like, if you were where they are, you'd be voting for Donald Trump too. And that's the only thing that I wanted to say. So I appreciate you guys, humoring me. We'll return to this maybe around the election and talk about it one more time. But just to see, that was one of the major things that I walked away from recently. It's just like, and maybe it's just a lesson to be learned, is we're supposed to be like the same country.
Yeah, that went out the window a long time ago, though. It'll be interesting to see if we can ever get back to that.
So anyway, thank you all out there.
I
hope it resonates with some
I
of
say
you.
it all the time, and I don't mean it as a joke. 9/11 was the last time we were unified on anything. And that was like such an amazing time because it was so horrible, but God, did it feel good to see one united America. And we made a lot of bad decisions. We did a lot. We didn't use it in the best way, but it was awesome that for one time, it seemed like everybody was on the same page in my lifetime, I should say. You know what I mean? I don't count the Iraq War. I was a little baby. Or second grader. I don't remember the political landscape. But that was, because I think it was bullshit before 9/11 with two sides fighting each other for stupid things and being petty children and getting elected and not doing a goddamn thing. And then 9/11 brought us together where it seemed like, cool, it is going to be bipartisan. We are going to work together. We're going to make things happen. And then, of course, we went back to business as usual with a few changes like the TSA. Matt, what's your topic?
Oh, I'm sorry. Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's heavy.
No,
Sometimes I
it's
like to go heavy
amazing,
before
though,
we go
because when
light.
I listen to it on the radio, I'm so excited because I love you.
Thank you.
No, I mean it, because it's just
Thank you
like
very much.
education and interest, and you also, it's so quick too. I don't think that fast. I never think that fast. So this is, I love it. No,
Thank you very much.
no, it was
Appreciate
amazing. Well researched. Did I have a topic?
I don't know. What you
I did have a topic.
I don't know. What you
I
wanna
did
talk.
have a topic.
Yeah.
Well, you invited me back to. I mean, it's not as serious as.
No,
as
that's why we
voting.
break it up that way.
Thank God.
Yeah.
No, I mean, because this is. I feel guilty now that I don't know enough. So now I have to go.
You gotta go learn.
I
Nick's
gotta
wife's
go
holding
learn.
a class, I think.
Yeah, apparently we should
Google
do
that
that.
or
Like
something.
after
Send him a Google invite.
Saturday. It's like the
Do you think
DMV
you
class.
could call
It's
her
gonna
and
be a
just
parking
after
ticket.
we stretch and get all that gas out, we can like vote correctly?
Sure.
Yeah, because I
She'll tell you.
just
She's
don't
got-
want to
she's
be.
got
I don't
her,
want to make the wrong
She's got some good
choice.
opinions on the election.
Oh, I bet
too.
she does. Right after her
What do you
banana
want to talk
chips
about,
and
Matt?
almonds.
You want to
Well,
tell more
I
Nick
mean,
stories? You want to talk about midlife ballers? What are
I
you
mean,
up to?
I was excited when I forced Nick to have me on the show today for.
Come on, Kevin.
Really?
Hold it together. over there,
45
will you?
fucking minutes. He's over here like amazing monologue. I start talking, you drop your keys.
That's a fine monologue.
It was 45 minutes. I mean, there's a timer right there.
No, I didn't. I wasn't correcting you on the time.
Oh, I
I was
apologize.
saying it was fine.
So when did I come on the show last? I know it's horrible. It's like
We
the
were still in the
train is
spare
moving.
bedroom. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was the last time.
I think it was earlier this year.
Yes. So when in that it was I don't know 10, 11 months because we
Prior
were
to August sometime.
yeah somewhere in there and it was an idea. This show was an idea of Midlife Ballers.
Yeah.
And so I was excited to come back and tell you how things are going.
How's it going? So midlife ballers, in a nutshell, you're ripping off our formula. It's a podcast.
No,
podcast,
actually, we
you and your
started
friends being
doing that.
goofy.
We started ripping it off and went, "There's no fucking way we can do this much shit." Like Chris and I, producer Chris is actually here for those of you that give a shit.
up, Chris?
He's in the back. Yeah, he doesn't have a fancy microphone like Kevin, but he does throw it down when it's time. But it's super fun, and it's really hard to be an adult, to have adult responsibilities. Like Jason has kids, and he's always getting new jobs. Like last night, he texted me and said, "I think I'm the general manager of the restaurant now." And I went, "How did that happen? Weren't you just like a bar manager?" And he said, "No, I'll tell you later." And so his schedule constantly changes, and just trying to get the show together. But we figured out how to make it better for us, if that makes sense. And then we decided to maybe try Patreon.
So let's check it out then. So midlife ballers, YouTube channel,
Yes.
podcast you're making.
Yes,
You started off. You wanted it to be weekly.
it is still weekly.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Because I
we're-
remember when episode 1 went up. It felt like it wasn't going up that often.
pilot.
Just the pilot. Did you
No.
get it? Did you get
Test
an
bed.
official
No,
set? Do you still have the concrete
we
wall?
had 2 videos that came up
Okay.
to like say this is coming, and then once we started, it was 30. We're at episode 38, so it's 38 weeks ago.
Okay.
We've shot some doubles, which I don't like doing, where you like do 2 episodes in the same day, because by the end of it, I'm just like, I mean, I can't. I like it to
We
be
can
a little,
sympathize.
Yeah, we're
a
there
little
today.
fresh. No, I know you guys, and I appreciate that, and also like I could, Love and Sex stuff is kind of like that, where you would want to be more efficient, but it's actually better
That's
if,
easy,
if we don't let Jason talk that much. Or me, because then at the end of it, Chris will start making faces at me, and I'll go, "Man, I need another Red Bull because this is like, I can't. I'm not funny. I
can't
do another
do this."
beatbox. I can't do anything." But it's better to do, and it's exciting because he fights the traffic, and we have to clear our schedules, and then we get there. And even Chris, 2 episodes ago, something happened where he was fucking crazy angry. It was like a client or something. Something went bad. Somebody fucked something up, and by the middle of the episode, he was laughing, and it was like he was relaxed, and then he was throwing us stuff that we could talk about. It was so it's more therapeutic and it's fun for us. But
Yeah.
then a lot of people are like, "Hey, we would love to support you on Patreon. When's that going to happen?" And Chris is like, "Why don't we just try it?" And I was like, "Well, because if you look at the Bible of online content written by Kind of Funny and Tim Gettys, we're not supposed to launch yet." And he's like, "Fuck that. Let's just do it. Let's just do let's do us
Timmy
and
told
figure
fuck
out."
you.
No, I didn't say fuck to
Fuck
Tim.
him.
I mean, well, that sounds like.
I literally went around Tim
Misread
because
my Bible.
we don't have.
I would have told you to do that day one. Why
Yeah,
not?
no. Well, I mean, because I'm a little more conservative because I want to see where it's going, and then ultimately I wanted more, and Chris goes, no. Let's just do the podcast. Let's just get this together and get it right. And so far we have we hit our net. We have the tier system, and people are starting to donate a little bit.
Wait, hold on. So the Patreon is live.
Yeah, it launched a week and a half ago, 2
See,
weeks ago.
now you got Tim mad because you've missed
You
a
launched
Bible.
a Patreon without talking to me about the launch of the Patreon?
Bad news. You misread the
I
Bible.
didn't read all of the book.
Yeah, no. It looks like you didn't even
That's
get
like
it from
page
the
1.
library.
Page 1 on Tim's book is always talk to Tim Gettys.
Okay,
Yeah.
here's the thing though.
But never
okay,
tell anyone that you
so
talked to Tim Gettys.
So it launched and we were excited, and honestly, you guys are so busy
No,
that
dude,
I
I got
didn't.
the Patreon spiel down to a science now. Do you know how many launches we've helped at this point?
Yeah.
All.
Well,
every one
All of them. Every single
Every
Patreon
one
that
of them.
exists.
What are we
Jack
doing?
Conti's.
What are we doing right? Well, this is what I'm
Tim made
saying.
the
That's
company.
why that's why we wanted to try it and make sure that it was all working and everything was
Tim,
organized. So
yeah.
now that it's up, it's only been a week
Yeah.
and a half, and this episode's gonna drop when it drops, and then we haven't even done like the exclusive stuff. I mean, we literally just got one guy that gave us a tier where I have to now like give him, because one of our tiers is I do live beatboxing for them so they can have a, I know, right? And
I like.
And so I have to come up with like it's a limited, thank God, because I think producer Chris was like, no, if people give us like $10 a month, you got to beatbox, and I was like, that's not happening, because I'm not gonna just spend all day just ticking and drooling on a microphone. We need to make it, maybe give me a motivation for that, and then is it like a ringtone? Anyway, so we had fun coming up with all.
Give
of
me
the,
some
of the
beatbox
tiers.
right now, a sample.
Well, normally when I open
Let's
the
say
show,
Colin
actually-
gave you $10.
it's not $10.
Colin,
though.
give him $10
Colin gave you
out of
whatever
your
the hell the
pocket.
fucking month.
Can you hear this, Kevin? Okay, so earlier I thought you might want that. And so I was like, what would I do if I was sitting next to Colin? And so I popped on Spotify and got a little 311 in my ear. And it was like, do 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 do. Ba ba ba.
Amber.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my light one too.
Fantastic.
That's like
Yeah,
check.
fantastic.
I love you so much.
So that was for you because I
Thank
missed
you.
you from last time.
I appreciate
Yeah,
that,
Chris
Matt.
was it because we were sharing a room, so I was like in the shower listening to as many 311s as I could to get like, what if they asked
Get
me
in
to
the
beatbox?
space.
I gotta do it for my boy because he's probably gonna rant for 55 minutes about politics and I don't vote, so this is gonna be a fucking horrible conversation.
Sorry, I didn't mean to alienate you with the first.
no, you
topic.
didn't alienate me, but like I was so I want to vote for you because I want to see.
Yeah,
what
we
you
all
do.
want to vote for Colin.
No, we
That's-
don't.
Yeah,
You
we
and
do.
everyone else.
Fix it or really break it. But either way, it'd be
I feel
interesting.
like
Colin's
Tim's
not
gonna
the
kill
change
somebody
you
right
want.
now with that
He's
wrist
the
right
change
there.
you need.
Why wouldn't you want to vote for me? What did I do?
Colin's our Dark Knight.
I don't know. I just feel
we can't
like,
lose you.
Yeah, I don't know. Me and you, I think, don't agree on a lot of things.
Oh,
So you're not
shit.
the president I would vote for.
That's
to be
still
fair,
winning.
no one at this table is someone that
I would be a
think-
dope president. I'm just saying.
Nick, you wouldn't even show up. Like,
Awesome president. Like, wake me up at noon.
You would kill yourself.
Give me a list of shit that you need. Yes,
Wait, he'd
no answers
assassinate
to.
himself?
No, he would just under the stress. He would just they find him all dead in his office.
no,
That'd be
Nick,
fine.
there'd be shit thrown out of the Oval, like they were just flying, and then there'd be a little guy with like a cool coif, and he's like, "God damn it, Steven." Maybe his assistant now
Are
is
you, talking
Steven.
about, are you talking about Mel Gibson over there?
Yeah, it's like Mel Gibson. I asked him where Murtaugh was.
Yeah, right.
You seen
too old for
Murtaugh?
this shit.
He is not too old for this shit.
God
He's gonna
bless it.
spill water
Look at
on
that.
that light board. Okay,
I want him to keep growing it out until he can actually
or
legitimately
whatever
put it in
that
a
is, the
ponytail.
little switchy switch that you don't use. Anyways, yeah. So can we do the show?
Yeah, no, this is what I was going to ask
Thanks,
you.
brah.
Is this a taste of midlife ballers?
What is when I beatbox?
No, everything that just happened. What
mean like-
what is midlife ballers? You still haven't sold it to the kids. You haven't told them what they're getting into. We should give them a taste of midlife ballers.
I mean, midlife ballers is what it needs to be at that moment for
Jesus
us.
God, what the fuck does
It's
that
the
even
Batman.
mean?
It's the Batman of podcasts.
Don't help him. Don't.
I have to. I sort of invited him on the show,
Yeah.
so I feel obligated.
I feel like when I
bolster
was
him.
like, "Hey, what can I be on the show?" and you were like, "Hold on, I have to call Greg."
yeah, it's Greg show.
Okay, Greg just got back to me. Yes, you're allowed in
we
the
love
building.
you. You're funny.
I don't
No, I
look.
know.
I don't book people. I don't book guests on other people's shows. Okay, I don't book guests. Period.
I still don't know.
just don't
Like
do
he
it.
came back from Morocco and was like, I'm walking my dogs and I'm talking to him and he's like, yeah, this and that. And I go, yeah, and the Patreon channel's doing one. He goes, hold up. Wait, you on Patreon? And I was like, yeah, you were out of town.
Well, I would have
I'm also
expected for
coming to
you
San
to have waited
Francisco.
for me to come back in town and then
I
coordinate.
mean, I
with
thought
us
about all of
so
that.
we could have helped
but
you on the launch and pushed more people toward you.
I know.
because we believe in you. But we're doing that now.
No, I mean,
You're making me question it.
we kind of want.
Your
What do you mean?
decisions.
What do you mean
Your-
questioning
your-
my decisions?
If he's questioning if he backs you. Here's what I need, Tim.
Well, we know what it's
for
about.
for Matt, midlife ballers, and everyone watching. Top 3 Patreon tips.
Top 3 Patreon tips.
Chris is taking notes.
Make your most valuable thing your cheapest thing. So
Okay.
whatever's at $1, the entryway, the gateway drug into
Sure.
the Patreon should be the most valuable
So like our
thing.
bonus episode.
I think our bonus episodes of the shows are our most valuable thing.
Okay.
So you do that. Second off, don't have too many tiers. Make sure that it's all.
Oh, then we don't have that many tiers.
And
Do we have a lot of
really,
tiers?
You want to focus
You
on
never
that.
even looked at your Patreon.
I do have
that
it, yeah.
the $1 to $15.
I don't know what a lot is.
It's one
You know?
tier. It's $1,500.
The $1 to $15 tiers are the most important.
Okay.
And those should all be content focused.
Yeah,
so
they
they
are.
should all be about they should all be based on stuff you're already doing.
Correct. That's what we're doing.
Good.
Great.
Okay, so you're doing
It's
something
exclusive. It's early stuff, early
Yeah.
videos, early audio,
Yeah.
early goodness.
And then I
Exclusive
don't know.
content.
I mean,
Then we came up with some fun options.
Yeah, fun stuff's
that
cool.
people want, and so far we've gotten. You know, like the other day, I got a $100 a month a
There you
subscriber.
go.
That's nice.
And he is going to get all kinds of cool stuff, including the beatbox.
Good.
So I have to come up with something.
I like the beatbox
Are you making it
idea.
up as you go? $100 tier. Cool stuff. We'll figure it out. Don't worry.
No. I
And a
mean, no.
beatbox.
I mean,
Would that be any different than
I
what
gotta
we do?
give producer Chris credit. I mean, like we really kind of spent a couple weeks going back, and he did a lot of research also.
Good.
Like we shot a little intro video, and we were very specific, and we did a whole night of. There's a lot of footage of me running around half naked. Like at one point we were a little drunk, and Jason and I are in like robes, and of course then I talked and I was like, "Well, she a big fat person." Like I was like really, and he's like, "We can't use that," and I was like, "Well, just keep it in the can just in case." That needs
He's
to be-
really on our
Here.
podcast and saying it then.
yeah, no. I meant the video of
Oh,
me
I
running
understand.
around tucked.
You totally
know?
could. You just you mosaic out that
I
little.
mean, I know he knows how to do it, but
You're a
no, there's
hog.
no show. I was like, let's not do that. Let me lose a little bit of weight. And remember, also, we were coming out because I'm 8 weeks after my surgery, so I just had a
Bionic
hernia
knee.
fixed. Yeah,
Hernia?
I'm a hernia. Yeah,
What happened?
hernia. I had
What were you trying to
got a
lift?
hernia. Actually, I was sitting on the toilet and I sneezed.
Is that true?
Wow. Ripped
The
open his
universe
stomach.
works in an unusual
No,
way.
Toss me-
literally,
walk me through.
I had been lifting a lot. My wife said, "Let's move to Northridge and then let's move back," but we hadn't moved back yet. And so I was moving a lot of boxes, and I'm like going back and forth, and I'm lifting and I'm gaining weight because it's fun. And then all of a sudden, I had a cough because I have bronchitis, and sometimes I sat
So you're
down.
pooping.
Well, of course I poop. I poop it's like 5-6 times before noon. So I was on the toilet in the guest bathroom, and I was
Why the
about
guest
to
bathroom?
cough.
Because you're blowing it up?
If you really must know, because in our 1940s house, if I shit in the main bathroom, after the earthquake in Northridge, they redid the plumbing, and there are 2 90-degree turns. And the guy from the plumbing company said that toilet's always going to have issues if you're fucking loading it up with butt wipes and man turds. And so I was like, then that's fucking horrible. So where can I shit? And he's like, shit in that toilet because it's a straight run to the street. And it used to piss my wife off. She's like, why are you shitting in the guest bathroom? And I was like, A, because there's a window, and B, because I need, of all my travels, he was the most human.
Yeah.
Like I just shot that fucking. I just shot him
you
right
just
out.
put it out into space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
God,
so,
Brad, I love you
and
so much.
but that was the truth because form follows function. So I was like, this is my toilet, and so I was just sitting there, and I was like, like that, and it just went. Just popped out of my belly button, and then after
Wait,
after a year-
dial it back because I had a hernia as a baby. I don't remember. I tried to lift my mom, I imagine. What does a hernia entail? What did it pop? Is it intense pain immediately? Is it
No,
just
not at all. It literally happened, and then I was because in some of those moments, it's better if I don't wear a shirt.
Of course. So, I know.
I
that.
overheat when I poop sometimes.
As a
Sometimes I
fat
get
man pooping, I
totally
know what I
naked.
mean.
I get
No, that's what I'm
100%.
saying.
If I can get naked, I get naked. That's
No, and this is
preferred
what
choice.
3-4 episodes ago we covered the squatty potty, which I've got some on order because we're gonna test that and do a market research on it because I
that?
really
It's
the
the thing that
squatty
goes
potty.
in
Oh,
the
then
toilet
the blocks. The blocks.
I tried it with my wife. She has a little stool to get up to her closet, and I almost fell off. Anyways, it was too high. It needs to be lower. And I'm also fatter now, so I can't really roll. Like those drawings
I think
don't
they're
do
also
it justice.
angled this way. So
A
you,
little
like,
bit. It's just 14.
Stirrups.
You need 14 inches, or there are women and men that can stand on the top of the toilet. That is not me.
Or you can go out and just shit in the woods.
I felt like.
Just get out there and shit in the woods.
Wait, what?
Stand on top of the toilet.
Yeah, that's right. If you've seen there are like sketchlets online. I researched it where people are perched on the top of their toilet, like. I'm not even. That's not a joke.
I was listening
like
to
Lola taking a poop.
I'm just non-sequitur. I was listening to Daniel Tosh the other day on I think it was Spotify, and he has a great joke about how he's like, did you know you could sit the other way on the toilet?
Oh yeah, and he eats spaghetti
So you
and
can
stuff.
eat
Yeah,
spaghetti and
that's
cereal.
an old. Yeah. He goes, this guy. Hold on a minute. That's great. Yeah, that's a funny sketch. I don't actually sit that way, but
No one sits that way. That's why
no,
it's a
I mean,
joke.
but you can. You have to take your pants off all the way. But yeah, I had my shirt off and I sneezed, and then I looked down and there was like a little like nubbit sticking out of where I used to have a belly button. So what
How
happened
you
is
don't like this story?
Why? No, but for Tim's own visual picture,
No.
how deep is your belly button? Because something could pop out of my belly button.
it's
I would not.
No.
I'd be like,
it
is
was
there a
right,
clit in there?
well, first of all, it was right above the belly button.
look.
So
Oh,
essentially,
okay.
what happens in an umbilical hernia is you get a little tear, and then a little tiny skin pops out. It's not. At one point, somebody's like, "Oh, your intestines." No, your intestines not going to pop out of a little tear. But after a year and a half of working, it ripped to 2 fingers. So then I had a little bit more mushrooming. So the guy's like, we might want to fix this. And I was like, let's fucking rock this. So 8 weeks ago,
No, you're
I
skipping
had
a
a
couple
surgery.
incredibly fun parts where you get drunk and then make me push it back in.
Oh, that's the other thing. So the guy forgot.
Yeah,
Thank
come
you,
on, he would, like,
thank you,
grab my
brother.
fingers and like, I don't want to
So
do this. And he's
the
like, come on,
doctor's
push it
the
back in,
first
it's
doctor
fine.
that I saw at Kaiser in Woodland Hills, who was this guy on his cell phone, young kid, and they were like, "You got to see this specialist because he's like the ER doc from whatever
ER.
Saudi Arabia or something." No,
He's
he does
the
like
Noah Wiley
he
of
was like
ER
a
docs.
battlefield tech, like in the military, and then he came back. So he's like super young and has this cool technique. So he's on his phone and he's like, "Oh, let me see." And for those of you watching, I'm touching Colin's belly. He said, "Yeah, it's umbilical. Okay, let me try." And then he popped it back in, and it made a little sound in my ears. And I was like, whoa, sourness in my tummy. And he's like, cool. Just keep pushing it back in and we'll figure it out. And you should lose some weight and don't sneeze. And you get it back in. And then we're good. No, I'm not even kidding about that. And so he pushed it back in. I was like, great, so I'll just do that. And then it got worse. And then then we get to the point where I couldn't push it back in. And so I have to lay down and rest and ice it and push it back. There's all in a book that you can read. You can research online
Is
to
this your
manage
book?
it.
Similar to Tim's Patreon book?
Yeah, I jumped to the end and it just said don't get a surgery. Anyway, so I got the surgery.
The amazing part
because of
about
it.
this is he gets the surgery and I was like, oh, let me see the scars, right? And he lifts up his shirt and I'm like, this is interesting. Because for the first time, I shit you not, in probably 20 years, Matt has chest hair now because he can't shave this area because the scars are too new, I guess. I assume.
chose not to shave when I was with you on Sunday when we were watching the show, but I have since remedied that.
Oh, you're bald again?
Yeah, but I just trim it. I can't stand hair. We're not going to look at it online. It's disgusting.
I need...
Because it's
man.
I'll
laparoscopic.
block the
so I have
camera.
7
I want to
points.
see the scar. Let me block the camera. Kevin, only keep it on the wide. Go
Why
wide.
doesn't he block the camera and flash all of you guys?
Why don't you take your
That's what
pants
I
off
wanna
right
see.
now?
All right, go ahead. Show me the scar here.
I can't even do
No,
that.
it's not. They're laparoscopic scars.
Oh, they were super tiny.
And then, they were bigger before. And then I got a dimple here, and there was 4 dots around them because that's how they put the mesh in.
Okay.
So they like
You wanna
pop
feel
it
the
in and
mesh?
stitch
That's not
it.
bad at all.
No. It was. It's
okay, guys.
I mean, I'm sure it
it's
was
the
okay.
way. It's
It's
the
okay.
way to get it repaired because there's no external
This is
scar.
the way to do
like
it.
if you're gonna have it problem, you don't want to have a cut because then the stitch won't. Because they stitched internally and then cauterized and did all this cool shit. But the fun thing was when I was going in because they gave me the joy juice, right?
I know all
Little
about that.
anti-anxiety and then the med, and then she was hot. Like the anesthetician, the
Yeah.
Anesthesiologist.
anesthesiologist was a pregnant woman. So I was like, I hope that's gonna stay in there, doc. But I get in there and I'm like loopy. I'm loopy, and so I'm like, hey, thinking Tim Gettys playbook, right? What am I gonna do? I get into the surgical unit.
Start
And I said, and I was like, hey, so do you guys record this surgery on video? And they were like,
love
yeah,
it.
we do. And I was like, cool. So I have this podcast called Midlife Ballers, and it would be awesome if I could have a copy of it. And you know what they said? Is that for work? And I was like, yeah, it's for work. And they were like, no, but we'll give you photos. And I was like, I'll take those. I can put those on my show too. So my wife's sitting next to me and the nurse comes up 2 hours later and goes, oh, here are those photos you requested. And it literally, she was like, are you fucking nuts? And I was like, I have no idea what I guess, yes.
You're a content creator.
Because in my mind, I was like, Chris will cut this in where they shoot the video where it's going into my belly and blowing it up and we can do a reacts to my video. I mean, it was all in my head.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't release it for legal reasons.
That
fucking
sucks.
Kaiser. I know it was awesome. And it was 45 minutes.
We need to go in there and sneak in there and get it.
Yeah.
It's probably on a file
Those
somewhere.
drugs are the best, huh? I've been under those drugs a few times.
I literally, I was looking,
sometimes when you're having surgery.
the best.
looking at the
occasionally.
clock. I counted backwards from 5. I was like,
Yeah,
5,
I love
4.
that.
Oh, I'm stoned.
Yep, done.
This
and then
is
you wake
awesome.
up, done.
Yeah. It was
Out
good.
of my mind.
But you know
Yeah.
when I had the surgery? The fucking launch of the studio.
Yeah, he was having it
That's
the
why I
day
couldn't
of
come.
The party.
Yeah.
The very day. That's when I saw your little exclusive thing. We were walking around like, I can't go. And then there's a bar and bartender.
Yeah, then he was on these incredible pain medications and called me every 15 minutes because he forgot that he called me already.
Oh, you want to talk about constipation too? That
hilarious.
fucking pain med I was on. Holy
I hate that shit. I won't do it. I won't
4
take pain
days.
meds.
And the other problem is anything in your abs here. Like I didn't want to even like blow my nose. It hurt so bad. There was so much pain, and so I was like, I don't know, I'm gonna shit when it's time. And I fucking worked it out
You're
because
a fucking man.
well, not really. I mean, it was really painful. To go back to what you were saying a week ago, whenever you were saying about your
Yeah.
poop. Yeah.
Poops, painful poops.
Painful poops.
So Tim, are you ready for any of this? Because I feel like these are all hurdles you've never had to go over in your life. Any kind of surgery, any poop pains, all this stuff.
I've had poop pain my entire life. I've had constipation problems since day one.
because you're too tense.
I was gonna
But-
say he isn't. He carries it all. He's nervy.
I think I can deal with this stuff. What I can't do, there's certain things in my life, like, you know, people have like issues. Like, I can't deal with like eye stuff, like
yeah.
needles in eyes,
Yeah,
and like
no,
scary
no, no.
movies. I'm like, nah. That needles
Fire
in
in the
general,
sky style.
like something about like veins. Just I don't like the idea of
Yeah.
veins.
Okay. Well, you can't get a surgery then.
Like whether it's
because they stab you all, especially the woman that put my central line in. She
she's
couldn't
bad.
get it. She's
She's
like,
bad, yeah. I
that
can't
vein's
do
got
it.
a 90-degree angle. I got to go to the other hand, and she pulled it out, and it spattered everywhere. And I was like, hey,
I have good veins. I
let's
usually don't have
be
issues.
fucking pro about that. And she's like, I'm sorry, and then stabbed this fucking hand, and I was like, okay, so we're done. Then I had to pee, like Nick Scarpino in the middle of an episode, and I was like, shit, what am I gonna do? And she's like, oh, you can pee. We just have to walk behind you with all the shit. So then I was like, with those
Dr.
fucking
Octopus.
Yeah, I'm just like, and then I get in the bathroom. They have all these hooks, and I sit on the toilet. I'm like, now what am I gonna do? Because now I can't reach the stuff to unhook it. So then I had to call her back in, and it was.
I mean, I've told the story on the
awesome.
show before, but that happened to me. And there was one time I was like dehydrated or some shit, so I had to go to the fucking ER. And they're like,
I don't remember this story. Was I on the
they're
show?
I don't know. They rehydrated me like with the whole
IV.
the
Banana bag.
IV thing,
Yeah,
and I had to go pee eventually. I was there for hours.
That's good though.
And they're like, oh, cool, great, go to the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom and I pee it all out and I faint mid piss. And then they're like, next thing I know, I wake up and I'm like back in the bed. And I'm like, what the fuck? And they're like, you straight up passed out in the bathroom.
Did you pee on yourself?
Everywhere.
Yeah, you pissed on yourself.
Yeah.
How did you get so dehydrated?
I don't, it was
You probably
really
drank
hot.
like 10,
I don't
100,
know.
1,000 sodas and fucking
Kevin,
day.
you had to be there. What happened?
I don't remember.
Thanks,
Yeah, no,
Kevin.
I was young. I
Kevin
the
can tell
worst.
me everything about fucking milking this cat, his best friend,
But yeah,
his
no.
brother,
I wasn't there.
his beloved.
Yeah, it was bad though. But I
That's
do
brutal.
remember
I've
that
done
was
that.
it was the only time in my life I've ever like blacked out. Like I've ever had a moment where there's something that happened. I'm like, I don't know what
fucking
that,
scary,
that
isn't it?
was. Like, because I was just back. I'm like, I was peeing a second ago.
Yep.
And she was like, it was a while ago, and you were peeing everywhere.
So did they just find you and,
I mean,
and your captain was just like a fire hose?
Yeah,
like,
I was gonna
unmanned?
say in my mind it's like
guess.
backdraft,
Oh,
and then you're
man.
just sitting there like, "That's my brother,"
You go.
just grabbing
We
his dick,
go.
trying to get you like Kevin's trying to get on top of Tim's dick, trying to put it. It's a fire hose
Yeah, why
joke.
wasn't it-
These are some
This is
deep,
the
deep backdraft quotes.
Yeah,
and
man.
thoughts.
Yeah, man.
It just popped into my
All
head.
I remember from Backdraft is when they had sex on top of the
On top
fire
of the
hose
fire
and he
hose.
brought down
Of
like the
course
rock
she
came
was
down.
hot,
And
yeah.
then Donald Sutherland when he's like all creepy and everything burns or something.
them all.
Yeah.
Burn them all.
But I'm okay with like the pain. I'm okay with the idea. I'm okay with shots even. It's just that when I know that it's going into my vein, thinking about that or seeing it, it's just like, fuck that. If they were just to pop me in the back or some shit, I'd be like, whatever, go for it. Like I can take that. But the idea of the veins, like even looking at them, it just bothers me. I really want it. And in addition to that, belly buttons. There's something about belly buttons, umbilical cords. Like this whole idea, it really creeps me out. And I'm just super not into it. So this whole thing, very, very troublesome to me.
Yeah.
I'll show you
Things
the photos
popping out,
after.
you having to pop it back in. It's like this
Okay,
is
but it
my,
was- there's-
the
your
only
body
thing that
has
could
a
make
layer
this
of
worse
fat,
is if
so
it was Kevin. If it was Kevin's body, and I knew that these things were happening to
Kevin's
Kevin's
body is so soft.
Oh my god!
Why would
This
that
is a
be
soft
worse?
body.
Because you would fear, or why is there fear?
I would
there?
fear it because
He doesn't like my
'cause
body.
You know how you made him poke things?
Yeah, Kevin.
No, I mean that
would-
was recently, like, and,
I know.
and Nick wanted
Yesterday.
to, even though he said no. I
No, I
knew he
did not
wanted
want
to.
to.
In his fucking heart of hearts,
Matt's
I saw him in
bionic
his
now.
eye.
He's got like plates and shit
It's
in his
fucking
stomach.
DuPont. It's a mesh, and I can't do anything with it because the guy's like, if you break this one, it's bad. And he said
Put
a
a steel
healthy
pipe in there.
24-year-old takes 2 years to grow the tissue into the mesh. Yeah, so, and I was like, fuck, what is that, 3-4 years for me? Because I'm just, yeah, it's horrible. But
So
it's
are you
getting to
like,
the point now.
Are you
where I'm-
restricted? Can you move? Can you lift
yeah, no,
stuff?
I'm good now. I'm good now. There are internal stitches that sometimes still poke weird, and then I can lift now up to 50 pounds.
Okay.
And in about another couple of months, I can maybe mountain bike. He said a year, but I'm gonna try to
You
work on
push
that.
it.
Where is that on your scale of worries, Matt?
Well, my producer mountain bikes every day and wants me to go with him, and that's how I lost all my weight the first time. Because I'm jovial right now, Timmy. I don't know if you know, like I'm the biggest I've ever been, which is exciting. But I'd like to be able to tie my shoe without holding my breath. So
You know
what I mean?
Or slip-ons. Just throwing that out
you
there.
know what? I'll go back to slip. I got my thongs. I got
your
my
floppers, dude.
my flaps.
Get those
My
rainbow
flippity
flip-flops.
flops.
Yeah, boy.
In
So
my
go.
in my comfortable shorts from Target.
Oh, you love shorts.
And and then
love
I
it. This
used
is
to
why I
wear
love
those button-up shirts, and one of my guys on the crew once was like, "Nice blouse," and I'm like, "Okay, I'm not gonna wear that again." But I have so many of them, so
You
I
still
have
wear
to.
them, yeah, you
I
have
have
to.
because then I can unbutton like Picard. I can just like pop it open, and I'm now cool. Because
So
one
wait,
inch
you
is
got like the
exposed.
3 button?
It's the
Is it a
3 buttons
polo,
from
or is
Target.
it just-
No. It's the
My
work. He
apologies.
knows. It's the work ones. I wore him to put this studio together.
Gotcha.
Look at your video. I have one on in the video.
Don't
It's,
get so angry about it, all right?
No, I know. I just wish I looked better. But I'll work on
You
it.
look great.
Well, I'm
look great.
excited. Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Okay.
And these nice cameras. I look good on the camera.
You look great on the camera. That was a sample of Midlife Ballers. Go to their YouTube channel or Patreon for all that
what's your
jazz.
Patreon for Midlife Ballers?
It better be patreon.com/midlifeballers.
It is.
Great. Okay, good. No hyphens, no dashes, no
Yeah, it's
backslashes.
_Scarpino.
Tim, what's your topic?
Before we even get to my topic, I do want to say one last thing about his topic. You need to just make your beatboxing just a show, a Love and Sex Stuff style show, or just weekly, and just choose a different song every week and just do that. Because
Okay.
people would love to hear that. That shit's funny as hell. And
Is
you're good
it?
at it. You're good at it. Yeah.
You
But
know
I
why?
want it super tight.
Because
want
I was
super
a
tight
drummer.
close-up, and that's all.
Yeah.
it is.
Hello.
Just you.
Yeah, brother.
That's right. When you know how to
That'd be
beat
good.
it.
Bunch of Stuart Copelands over here.
Just a lot of shit going on over there. That's
All right,
I
there
took
we
it
go.
out. Okay, you know what? Chris took that down. Chris, we're going to do another show. You heard it from the god of Patreon.
He said no.
Don't shake your
but
fucking head. Edit that shit.
Take a day to do all of them. Choose
wear
a
the
bunch
same
of
shirt.
songs.
When we finish this Game Over Greggy show, we'll punch in on your face and you just beatbox out like 10 songs. No big deal.
Really fucking good. Make it a Patreon channel really fun.
For me, do Thriller.
Do Ghostbusters. There you go.
Oh
Two
my
right
God.
there.
A bunch of fucking
All right,
shit.
yeah,
You can
that's-
keep it trendy. When Star Wars comes out in December, do the Star Wars theme song. Just fucking add
Okay,
everything.
I'm sure people will
Tentpole
react to
events.
this night. Why is there video happening?
Because Kevin's doing things whenever Kevin does something.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
He's
No
got
problem.
literally 2 buttons to push. That's all he's got to do for this show.
But he has the option to hit.
But he has
many,
the option to
many
do more, and that's the problem. You give him the option, he's going to take it.
All right. So my topic, Matt, is very, very important that you're
Now,
here for.
can I set this up for you?
go
Is
for it?
it
You can,
possible?
I mean, you just cut
you
him
can
off.
give my topic.
I thought that Tim mentioned this topic. I was like, you guys, just because my brother, you guys will vibe on this. Tim
Ooh, I can't
decided.
wait to hear what it is.
Tim decided. I don't know why. I've never heard Tim talk about this before.
What are you talking about?
Never. I've never heard you talk about this specific thing before.
I never knew this was a dream.
Never
I
I
did
guess
not
I
know
just
this
don't
was a
share
dream.
things with you
You
guys.
don't, well, you
in an
don't share
intimate
most of your
fashion.
life with us.
I agree with that. I don't even know your girlfriend's name.
People on this show would know this.
Tim has a Prius C. Are you familiar with how big this car is?
I feel like a Prius C is like one of those electric cars.
It's like a Prius that
hybrid.
fits inside of a Prius.
Yeah,
that's
it's
how
the
small
small-
it is.
it's not the 4-door.
The C stands for city.
Okay.
It's
It's
for
the
them making them
2-door
parallel parks in the city.
2-door.
No, it's 4-door.
It's a
four-
4-door.
It's 4-door, but
C.
they're really tiny.
But it's
doors.
got. But basically, they essentially chopped down a lot of the size. Not the least of which was the trunk space is a lot smaller than in a Prius.
It's so small that they recommend you take off the headrest in the back seat so you can see out the back window.
Right.
So that's how small it is.
So Tim, the other day goes like this. I finally got it, and I'm like, "What did you get?" And he's like, "They tried to get me to do the 12-inch, but I said no. The 12-inch subwoofer is too much. I'm gonna put a 10-inch sub in the back of my car." And I'm like, "You've got to talk to my brother about this."
So I put in the 12-inch,
Yeah.
and it was too much. And that, coming from me, that says a lot.
Wait,
Now-
what's too much about a 12? Was
Too
it,
much-
Was the box correctly made? Like,
Oh,
was it?
It rattled off hubcaps.
That's the thing. That's the thing. It's like
There
too
is
much. It was fine. It fit.
This fucking close to the sub if you're in the back seat.
It fit. But the 12-inch made me feel like it was unsafe to drive.
Like,
yeah,
based
because
on
it
how
moves the
much
fucking
it's-
car.
Yeah.
Because it hits so hard. It'll
So you
actually
had an
physically move the wheel.
independent amp just for
there-
that one speaker.
So here's my thing.
In its own box. Is
Backing
it
up
like in
on
the
this.
box or is
Go
it
ahead,
just
sorry.
mounted in the car?
Backing up. No, it's separate. It's a separate beast. All right. Years ago, I decided as a young Tim Gettys that audio is something I value in my life.
naturally. You like music, you like rap, you like hip-hop.
Exactly. I'm like, I need nice headphones. I want nice speakers for my computer.
Yo.
And when I do eventually have a car, that shit needs to slap.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it's called? That shit needs to slap. I've never heard that, but I'm going to use it
Well,
now.
slap, but that was like, I don't know.
Slapping the bass.
That was like,
Slap at a bass.
that was like 2007 Bay
Slap at a
Area
bass.
Okay.
vernacular.
Bay.
I guess knock would be the more modern.
I should play that shit.
Does this
that shit
constitute
knocks.
Coastal Elite when he's talking about these speakers?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, great. Let's move on.
I don't know.
Bump.
Bump. That's,
We got
It's a
the
thing in the
kids.
South, though, too.
Yeah. I think South more than anything would appreciate this shit. The music
In
says
the
that.
Prius, yeah.
Well, whatever. The Prius is now becoming a bit. That joke would have made sense back in what 2003.
Yeah, you
It's
piece of
2016. Prius are fucking everywhere.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
When you talk about do you have a
Continue.
car, you might as well
It's
be
not
asking
what
do
I'm
you have a
saying.
Prius.
It's not what I'm
They're
saying.
ubiquitous. Car.
You're not going to
Prius,
see
same
somebody
thing,
roll up
same
in a
word.
Prius and just be like,
Also,
Okay, you're right. You are right about Prius.
dude.
You're right. So
I mean, I would do it,
yeah, no,
but
no, no,
I'm just
I know.
saying.
So long
you gotta
ago,
be
I was
careful.
just like, if
Yeah.
I ever do have a car, I'm going to make sure the fucking sound system's awesome.
Slam it, yeah.
So I was like, I don't
It's
give a
gotta
shit if
slam.
it's a piece of shit car. I still want a baller ass
No,
sound
a
system.
piece of shit car is actually more acceptable than the Prius, but continue.
No, but so here's the thing. Eventually, like I used to be a lot less well off in my life, so I never thought I was actually going to have a car. My family didn't have one, so
Financially.
just hit a point where I'm like, this isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
My good old neighbor Mario, whose brother was named Luigi, and
No,
it's like this
no.
is
I'm going to win.
yeah. I'm like, this is fantastic. He decided to give me his old car when he bought one.
Okay.
So he gave me his like '94 Toyota Corolla, and it
Okay.
was
Slamming.
car.
the
Bamming,
most
jamming.
fucked piece of shit of all
It's a
time.
Frankenstein
Awesome.
car, yeah.
And I was like, I had to go through a real hard thing in my life of like, am I gonna do it?
No, not
Like,
yet.
Am I gonna put the sound system in this? And I made the decision not to, based both on finances and also on like, this car can get stolen at any given moment.
Oh, they'll break into it and just gut
Like,
it.
I don't want to
want
invest that much money into
Yeah.
this because like, it will get stolen.
Yeah.
Smash and grab.
That car eventually died. I eventually got another piece of shit car that cost me $2,000. I went back in time and got a '92 Camry, and that was even more broken. At most points, didn't have windows. I've told the story before. Alfredo broke the windows doing something in the back seat, and
Doing something.
Or someone.
so, anyways, that car saw a lot of things, and it still hit me. I'm like, should I do this? And I didn't do it. And that car did get stolen, so thank God I didn't do it. Eventually, we start doing this whole thing. I need to drive to your guys' old place to do stuff. I needed a car, and I'm like, you know what? I've saved enough money. I can invest in a
Time to
fucking
get the
car.
dream ride, the Prius.
And so that was my thing. I've always wanted a Prius. It's economical. And I'm like, this
Great
is
car.
a good decision for my future. So I was in a position to do that. So I made sure to do it in obnoxious blue, as we've all heard.
Natch.
And it's great. Best decision I ever made.
Not only that, you pitted two Toyota dealerships against each other to the point where
Oh,
I think
yeah.
one of them may have killed himself.
I mean, that was my thing. Is I was like, if I'm going to fucking invest in this shit, I'm not just going to get the blue outside. I want to make sure that
You
I
got
get the
the
blue
full
chairs
kit and caboodle.
because they were trying to give me this light gray bullshit on the inside. This is the only way it comes. I'm like, excuse you, sir. I've seen the Google images. I've seen that the tier 3 also is available in this, and that's what I want. I don't want this bullshit.
You got what
right?
you want.
Commoner
Anyway, I've had this
C,
thing for
yeah.
about almost
Year and
coming
a
up
half.
coming up on 2 years.
Sure.
And I've loved the car. It's been
What does it have, like
fantastic to
100
me.
miles on it?
No, that's
Couple thousand?
Couple thousand.
Every once in a while, Tim feels
awesome.
the itch.
10
He's
to
got to make
12K.
that midnight run down to Disneyland.
Yeah, you know.
You just got to do it. Like
You know,
how
it's
people have
made
to.
its fair share of trips down to the
I feel you. Continue.
Eventually, I'm like, you know what? The sound system in my car sucks. Of
course.
It's been a big issue for me.
Stock.
It's from day one, I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get the sound system. But
Mm-hmm.
me and Kevin are always like, when's it time? And it was never time because we're always busy building studios and fucking planning shows and all this stuff, right? But eventually now, I went down to do the proposal video that I just put up.
Yeah.
And I was going to have to drive back by myself. So I was like, you know what? Because me and Gia were driving down together. I had no partner going back.
and he was
Hot now.
dumping her.
So, so I was leaving her there. She's
Dead
gonna be
weight.
fine. She was flying back
Awesome
to
in front of the
Philly
Magic
for an
Castle.
animal.
He's like, now look at the phone again.
Thanks for. I got another video for you after the proposal video. It's just like we're fucking done.
Done. So anyway, I'm like, this is the best time because I'm gonna have at least 6 hour drive. It ended up being about a 10-hour drive. Back
Why
by
are you so bad at
myself.
driving?
What's up?
Why are you so bad at driving?
Fucking traffic and shit, bro. Motherfucking traffic.
10 hours, Jesus.
Yeah, man.
Sorry.
There's construction going on the 5. This shit needs to
Always.
stop.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
but did you get this system in
So then I'm like,
SoCal?
No. I got it up here.
No
So
Racal.
I was looking around, looking at a bunch of options, and again, pitting people against each other and figuring that whole thing out. I eventually find some guy that I trust. I'm like, this sounds good. And he puts it in, and he was like, do you want the integrated thing where it's like the bass with the integrated amp or whatever? I'm like, what's it look like if I didn't do that? And I got an amp and the bass and new
Separate amp.
speakers and all
Smart.
this stuff. Because I was like, I want to keep my shit stock. Like my deck.
Inside.
Yeah, because
Like
I
in
don't
the
want
doors and
people
shit.
looking
You
in and
can't
being
know.
like, oh,
Yeah, that's smart. That's
Because then my
smart.
Prius C is about to get jacked. And I ain't trying to do that, right? So I'm like, I want to
pick it
do
up and
the
take it
integrated
away.
stuff so that it bypasses the deck, but it's still like there's a different sound processor or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, let's fucking do it. So he does that, and now my shit slaps, and it's fucking
Flash forward-
awesome.
Wait, Flash forward to
okay,
yesterday.
Okay,
We go
hold
out-
on.
we go
Can
out
I
to-
ask questions before
Sure.
you tell me this? Okay, so you replaced all the speakers. So they popped
Not all of
everything.
them. I didn't do the backseat ones.
So and did you have those rerouted as like mids or like are they actually
The
Like
backs?
how are your back speakers routed through? Are they? Did you put an amp on those and
The
and
amp
actually
still
have
feeds
it all
them. Yeah. The
from
amp
the
feeds
stock,
all of them.
The stock amp, or
no.
you got new amps for everything?
I got new amps for everything.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So
How
it made
much
me think
fucking
of
money are you
that bad.
making?
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that
billions.
expensive.
Millions.
Not
yes.
enough for him to do this
I
to justify
mean,
this to a
I
Prius
think
C.
that's true.
No,
Well,
so
no,
here's
here's the thing. Now
that's
the
not
car's
about the
my ultimate car.
Yeah, but it's not about a Prius C. I grew up in a time back in the day where some of my fraternity brothers worked at a small town store called Circuit City.
Oh,
They were all managers, and they would be like, Scarpino, when it's time, done. I'm pulling in right now. Do it.
Matt
and
used to have a new Alpine
all of
CD
them,
player
all
every,
the time,
like every
all the
6
fucking
months
time.
in his car.
From the time you could be like, chuck,
How
chuck, and now
stoked
you
were
have a
you when you
suitcase
could
for
change
your
the
fucking
color of it?
radio, right? And then you got the face off, and then eventually, and my shit one time got jacked, and then I changed it up. But you know, I rode with they had these things called, I think they were called thump boxes, where the actual 10s were mounted in the middle of a huge box,
Yeah.
where it's plexi and ported on the other side, and that son of a bitch keep their heads ringing. It's fucking
Matt,
awesome.
what was the biggest sub you had? Did you have
It was a
12?
10. No,
It
I
was
never
10.
had 12s. John Robinson had 12s.
Did you have 2 10s?
In a small, like, Ford. What is the smallest two-door Ford? Remember what Johnny had?
a Ranger?
No.
I had an
No, it was
Alpine system in my
it was a
Ranger.
Ford, like,
Mustang.
Fiesta. It was like a small. Remember that little Ford he had
Yeah,
that with
yeah,
the
sure,
two
like a
12s in the
Focus,
back?
just a wrap
So
rock.
our friends were into, like, 12-inch, like built-ins in the back of their car. So a lot of my guys had a ton of shit in the back, and it was all beautifully, you know, wood.
Yeah,
it was
of
all
course.
manufactured and fit.
So it
And
looks like it's part of
and
the
then
car.
one of my fraternity brothers actually repped Alpine, so they took his brand new Mustang apart, replaced everything, sprayed the inside of the car with that sound foam. Have you ever seen people?
Oh,
have you
yeah.
ever seen that? And then we
I've
would
seen
get in
him
there,
like
and your ears would fucking bleed. And outside the car, not one goddamn thing. It was brilliant.
See that? So this is where we're getting to the next.
Yeah, you gotta
chapter
take your car
in-
apart and have
in
that
this-
shit foamed
in
out, and
this-
then no one will hear
So
it.
flash forward.
Kevin, can you go foam out Tim's car for me, please?
Thank you.
we
Appreciate
got,
it.
we got
It's
some of this
actually-
extra acoustic foam and
That's
in
not
that
what you
extra
need,
if you
but
want.
it's okay. Don't let Kevin do it. Your car will look like.
What's it gonna look like,
What's
Matt?
happening? No, he keeps throwing I don't know what they're talking about. The thing that popped in my head was Demolition Man when the car turned into a cannoli. Never mind. Continue.
So yesterday, I looked over and I saw the secondary knob that they've installed in Tim's car that just controls the subwoofer, and I was like, "Oh fuck, dude!"
Just a volume control for the sub, or like,
Yeah, and I'm
it
like,
turns it
"Oh,
on."
dude, we got it." We're
it's a knob.
Yeah,
that's
the
what-
bass. It cranks the bass.
There's a bass knob.
okay.
so.
And what are we listening to in our new
okay.
car?
So
listen to everything.
2 things we listened to yesterday. One, this was Tim's choice,
Do it.
and rightfully so.
Do
it
it.
was Get Low, right? Is
Oh,
that
of
what it was?
course.
The song me and Nick
Right.
came
Yeah,
out to.
yeah, yeah. I have it on my
Live
yes,
one.
absolutely. That thing slams. That's
Because the
awesome.
build up, because it does thing. It's like, all right, there's no bass in
Yep,
it
yep,
for the
yep.
whole fucking thing.
It's almost
and then 30
dubsteppy a
seconds
little
in
bit,
is
yeah. And
Motherfucking
it's
hits.
like,
So,
motherfucking hits.
It's 5 of us in this car. I was lucky enough to be in the front seat. Greg was not. Greg was in the back seat, unfortunately. And I look back at Greg, and Greg has this look that he has sometimes when he's not happy, but he's not miserable. But he would very much like whatever's happening to
stop.
not happen
Yeah, yeah.
anymore. But he's okay if it keeps happening.
He's gonna let it play.
Right. And
For a second.
it looks like this. Right. That's Greg's. I'm ambivalent to this, but I would prefer it not to be happening. Then on the way back, I sat in the back seat and I was like, I need something that my brother would have bumped in this car. I was thinking of channeling Matt Scarpino. So I put on Cypress Hills, I Want to Get High.
Skun, skun, skun.
And what I learned about that is I haven't heard the song in years. A, it's still fucking phenomenal. B,
It's still great to
one
smoke
out of every
weed
other
and play that
4
song.
Bass drops actually hits.
And
So
did-
you don't
did
know
you-
when it's going to happen.
Did you shit?
Oh my god!
Did you hit the brown note?
Oh my god! It pushes the shit through the tip of your
There
penis.
is a
That's how
brown.
hard
There
this
is the brown.
thing-
You know the brown note?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a certain
there's-
frequency that makes you
there's YouTube
poop.
videos, and they're fantastic.
dude. It's intense. It is fucking
That's
intense.
dude. I'm so happy for
Oh,
you. That's
me
great.
too.
Can I ask a dumb question?
Yes.
So what's the system? Is it actually like because you're not using CDs? So is
I
it
use
just
his iPhone.
all what?
The-
No, but
my thing has CDs.
So but they didn't
It's the
take they
stock-
didn't take the actual face off and redo and you didn't get a new system.
No. That's the thing. I wanted to make sure that it was
Okay,
stock
so it's
for
still
the-
got the
it's still my
Bluetooth
Prius
and everything.
bullshit
Yeah,
ass.
you can still answer the
I got
phone. They didn't,
USB
like,
and all
just
that.
got it.
But the sound processor, like they ripped out the innards on
That's
the
smart.
inside and changed all that shit, and it's fucking great. But yeah, we play his song and it's like you hear all the bass, it's like, and then once out of every 4 beats, you're just be like, we're
Yeah,
like,
it's
holy
so
shit.
good.
The mirror,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the mirror is just fucking
dances
going crazy. But it's
So
definitely
brilliant.
So fun.
The thing I want clear to everybody is I don't want to be one of those guys that are like fucking driving through residential
that guy.
neighborhood. I'm
Yeah,
not,
like
though.
you didn't let Nick really crank it, let it loose until we were in motion.
That's
we were
what
at a stoplight.
it's like.
I just love. I'm trying to get the visual of a beautiful little, Prius with 4 white dudes slamming Cypress Hill.
Five of us, yeah.
Kevin was there.
Oh,
but
Kevin's okay. Then he
Rich
gives
Dyer
you a
was
little.
there,
it
yes.
was me,
Cypress
Kevin,
Hill. You can do
Tim,
it with Cypress Hill with Kevin. That's nice.
Greg, and then other Greg
Jesus
was in the
God.
car.
So that's it. You just listen to "I Want to Get High" and then you stop
the
because it
comments.
was so big. and
Yeah, I mean,
beautiful.
it's a lot.
What about like a little
Greg, too.
Metallica or something that like, has a little nuts, like
Greg.
Megadeth or something that has like some skadooch on
I
it?
mean, they have. I've given it
You're
the
like,
whole.
no,
I mean,
I-
I had 10 hours. I listened to like everything.
So
on
you
my
were like
iPod.
testing the entire,
Oh,
like,
of
and then of
course,
course a
of
whole new
course.
world and like
I was
Disney
gonna say,
shit.
there had to be some
Absolutely.
Disney shit in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course,
Agreed.
I had to listen
What's
to
the
the whole
bass
thing.
drop sound like in a whole new world? Is that something
It's just
special?
kind of ever present. Just kind of. It's just there. There's no drop,
man
per se.
You're gonna come to work. You're gonna be so relaxed. You're getting like a massage on this
Yeah.
fucking.
Oh
thing.
yeah,
It's
Yeah.
gonna be amazing.
That's
no, it's
cool,
great.
dude.
I mean, that's the thing is I only got like 10 minutes each day, but that's 10 minutes.
Solid.
Oh my god.
Solid.
Good for you.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. You should experience it sometime.
I mean, I would love to sit
be
in
in
your
there.
car and because that would take me back to because that's all my friends did.
That's what I mean. He's told me the
That's
story.
all
forever.
they fucking did. Nobody
all
really
you did.
worked.
Yeah.
They just sold drugs and bought sound equipment and put it in their shitty cars and then go, oh, my shit got jacked. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
that
I
was-
just love that it's in my car. I
I
love
remember
it
that. I remember
yesterday.
that gray box you used to have in the back of your car where it had like the amp drilled into the side of it or whatever.
Well, that was because we had the Blue Thunder. It's called the Blue Thunder series.
Yeah, it was
awesome.
Fuck yeah, it was.
That's Thunder's
So much fun.
This makes me just happy. It's just like it's the best thing. I'm looking forward to every time I drive now.
And what's your license plate number? I'm joking.
I was
It's
never
fine.
one for it. I never
a big deal.
needed that. I once bought a CD player and put it in my Ford Taurus. I didn't even buy it. It was
Okay, so this is a question then. Do you think like city specific or how do I ask this question? Because I don't want to be too offensive, but my question would be: Greg didn't really care about sound system. You did. You grew up in 2 different areas of the planet.
I think it's an appreciation for music thing. I just don't care. that.
No, I'm talking about the actual sound system. Like I was very influenced by the Inland Empire, San Bernardino,
I.e.
the
I
IE.
throw it up, yeah.
White Knights. No, I don't throw up White Knights because that's not me.
I don't know what the
Jesus
fuck
is
the White
right.
Knights are, but I'm probably not.
The
into
reason
them.
why the IE is called the Inland Empire is because it had a very kind of a good smattering, a large group of
Just a smattering, a small smattering.
possible people who hate,
Other
like
races?
white supremacists.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I don't like this at all.
No, but what I'm
super
saying
What's this have
is
to do with sound systems?
because those assholes
like
drive
both.
big trucks with sound systems, they're playing like ditchy
Yeah, no,
shit,
I'm
not
on a
slamming,
different end of this.
or LA. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you're a Bay Area dude,
Bay
but
Area.
not. Like I don't know where you live.
San
but-
Francisco. Well-
no, I know we're in San Francisco. I'm saying, but weren't you like on the
I was
outside?
from San Francisco.
But you're like kind of on the outskirts.
Now I'm on the Daly City, but I'm from San Francisco.
Yeah, but
That needs to be
you either
known.
have it or you don't. I mean, it has to be. You have to be kind of technological, like a techie for that kind of shit. You have to be into like because you didn't do your own, but my friends would take their shit apart and like run the shit to the battery and run. Oh shit, the battery.
Yeah.
We got to get
no,
new
me and
battery.
Kevin
then,
did do that for my '92 Camry, but I just
So
got,
you have an
I just got
appreciation
new
for it.
speakers though. I didn't
Yeah,
do
yeah,
the whole
yeah.
thing.
No, when you
That
gut
shit
the whole
worked
car
well.
and rebuild it,
Yeah,
it's
we
kind
had
of
to
a
take the
cool
door
thing
off.
to do. Yeah,
We
yeah,
felt
yeah.
like
And then it never
badasses.
gets back on there.
Never.
Fucking when it
No,
doesn't
no,
work.
no. We did put it on, except for
You
the
put it back on good.
The door opening
Aw.
thingy didn't. The handle.
The handle.
The
Put it
handle.
on
I did this one time. Real good. I do real good. I comb my hair once a week. You so pretty with those teeth. That was a great. Is that
Yeah, I'm with you, Greg. I was never into it either.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a complete
I was
total waste
into
of
it.
money. I was like, the car came with speakers.
Not a waste of
Yeah,
money.
it's good enough.
That's good
when,
enough.
When I was driving in the Ford Taurus and the driver's side speaker just stopped working one day, I was fine.
Done.
And then like 9 months later, it came back
wouldn't
online.
drive.
I was like, great.
I wouldn't
bonus.
leave my bed until
Bonus.
that shit's fixed. I'm out of
Love you.
commission.
That's awesome.
Yeah, fuck that, man.
I'm excited for you.
One of my nice pair of headphones when I went down to the fucking proposal, one of them broke, and now I'm like, well, shit. I feel useless. I can't believe I'm here right now. How am I supposed to function without being able to listen to things
I understand.
with
You have
clarity?
other nice headphones here, don't you?
Dude.
Yeah, I think
That's how I do it.
all the headphones balance out.
What kind of
I'm
sound
happy.
system do you have in your car?
I don't have a car now.
No,
I haven't
I know,
had a
I'm
car
just
since
kidding.
I was 18 or well,
You still don't have a
18.
driver's license, right?
No, not a.
Do you have an
driver's
ID
license.
card?
Yeah, an ID.
Yeah, it just says no drive. It's different though, right?
Yeah, it just says, I mean, it looks similar. I don't have my wallet on me. Well, it's probably for the best, actually. It would probably show
Just
everything.
show it to let me show it on the camera.
No, the one car I owned was a Ford Ranger.
Ooh, nice.
My dad drives
My
Ford
dad
Ranger.
bought it from a guy in his firehouse for $1. He was just trying to get rid of it and it had a beautiful Alpine system in it. Like it was
there you go.
It was awesome. It was so awesome. And then I sold it to my friend Brian. And then
For how much?
For more than $1.
For I think $500.
Yeah. Nice.
And then which is
Fuck
still a
you,
steal.
Brian.
The truck worked great. It was a beautiful truck. And then it got stolen.
I would love to see Colin bopping around in a Ford Ranger truck just driving.
I was
around.
listening to pretty much exclusively rap rock on that.
Oh
in
yeah,
that
I just mean
before.
seeing you driving seems like it would be so weird.
I'm not a bad driver. I'm not a good driver. Not a bad driver.
Okay, kind of like me with the speakers in the back.
Well,
seat.
when I learned how to
Even
drive
keel.
in my dad's Xterra, and
It's a Nissan,
I
right?
had a really it's an SUV. It's a pretty big car. I have a hard time centering the car in a lane based on like I feel like the driver's seat should be in the middle of the car. Because then you have to use like these weird because then you have to use like these mirrors to like my dad was like align yourself by using the left mirror and like the like just like all these tricks I guess I don't know, and I was so scared of that I would drive like really close to the shoulder, and I remember driving down this road, Old Stump Road in Brookhaven, just
What up, Old Stump?
lined with trees and just scratching the shit out of the side of my dad's car. Like, and he was so, and he used to get mad too because when I would get off the highway and I would like go onto the off ramp, I would be going like so fast and wouldn't brake until like the last second. He used to get, you'd be like one of these. Like,
Yeah.
That's not even
I got it.
Yeah.
There is something weird about that though, just the perception of where the lane is, because like I'm totally good, never hit anything, but there's something about like whenever there's cones, I feel extra sensitive about that. Like if it was just normal street, I would have never even went near it. But now that there's cones, and the drive back to LA always does this. You'll have all these open lanes and it's beautiful,
And then shit.
And at some point, it's just one little thing where there's like a wall and then construction, and I'm like the most tense I've ever been.
Yeah, which
driving.
you have tons of room on each side of the
Yeah,
vehicle.
but it's just like you just feel like you're so constricted.
Yeah, you should never
I ain't
drive a
down with
big
that
truck
shit.
then.
But what we need to test out now is I need to play my shit super loud, and I need someone from the outside to like.
You just
Oh, I
drive
can
around
totally
the
help
block
you.
a few
That's what I
times.
want to do. I
You
want to
bring it
figure
in.
it out.
I'm gonna say
because I need to
experiment.
test
It's
my
hella
limits.
loud.
No,
Yeah,
I
I'm
bet
sure
I
it
bet
is.
not. And we should check the rattle on the license plate frame in certain areas. Yeah, because you can get those little bumpers to make sure it doesn't do that. Little rubber stops.
All right, my topic
I guess.
is Westworld, which means Colin Moriarty.
Bye.
We need to bid you adieu.
I haven't seen it. I want it spoiled.
Now your plan is you're gonna watch the entire thing at the end. Is your plan, right? You're doing one of those.
I've heard great things about it.
Yeah,
but
it's
I
definitely
typically-
up your alley. It's a Colin show.
But I don't really watch shows one episode at a time.
Yeah.
So as long as I can avoid spoilers, and even if I don't, I'm sure I'll still watch it anyway. I've heard great things.
yeah.
So when Curb Your Enthusiasm comes back, I'll watch that one episode at a time. But other than that,
Okay.
okay.
And maybe The Apprentice if you like Arnold Schwarzenegger's take on it.
I just don't know. I feel like that show needs Trump back. But
Okay.
all right, see.
I think he might have some free time in the middle of
fired.
November.
I'm gonna grab a handful of you.
Handful of what?
Nothing.
Now, Big Kev Dog, I'm gonna need you close to the mic. You got some Westworld thoughts you want to talk about?
You
all
know
the
what we
time.
could do?
What's that?
Me and Big Kev Dog could switch spots.
Do you know how to switch a camera?
I do.
I'm getting 3 buttons,
I
but just
do.
don't hit the other button that brings up the half a fucking black square with a white border around it.
Now, for the viewers out there, as we now switch Tim and Kevin,
What the hell's happening there?
as we now switch Tim and Kevin,
Is he?
Kevin, come up. Kevin, you're getting called to the big league.
Tim, you get up. I think
Should
it'll
we
be
scoot
a
up- should we round- move around?
spoiler-y conversation. I don't think there's spoilers to worry about. If you want to know nothing about Westworld, sure. I mean, then
it's,
the idea is
it's
I
only
think it's
3
gonna be.
episodes
I don't
in.
know that anything's been anything
But it's like
big
if you
has
didn't.
So many
I know.
fucking questions.
I agree. But James Marsden's character.
Yeah.
Love him.
He's amazing. But like maybe I didn't know who he was until a little bit later in the episode.
Okay, cool.
You know what I mean?
Fair
like
enough.
that kind of thing.
Well, can we? I mean, we're gonna spoil
that-
something.
who's
Should we
that
just say we're
100%.
spoiling?
So I'm just saying.
spoiling shit.
No. Let's not yet. Before no spoilers. I think
Oh,
you
you
should
wanna do the spoiler
I
free,
think
I'm
you
sorry.
should watch Westworld like a crazy person. I think you should totally be on it.
I do too. I think it's phenomenal.
absolutely.
Quick impression.
Absolutely.
And then
I
Kevin
love
goes,
it.
It's phenomenal.
It's amazing.
Now we're gonna start talking, and now the gloves are off. I say. And so that was your thing. If you want to end the episode now, thanks. Support us on Patreon.
So
Yeah.
one of the things that I talked to you about when I first saw it and it came in the next day was I was like, I'm fucking floored by the cast they have for this show.
Yeah.
The fact that they have Ed Harris and Anthony Hopkins in a show together is ridiculous. James Marsden, again, I think James Marsden is one of those guys that like has always sort of got. He's never had his comeuppance, I don't think, in
Yeah,
Hollywood yet.
no.
I think he always gets the role that is weakly written for the character, and I don't think he's actually. This is one of those shows where he's actually shining right now in my eyes.
100%.
And it's shining.
And he
He's
doesn't age somehow.
Perfect fucking casting.
Well,
he plays the perfect person, right? And then literally through that, he's supposed to be the perfect guy, the hero. And you don't know that in the beginning, but then you see it, and it happens over and over and over again. And there's this slow twisted thing happening to him, and he's nailing it in my opinion. Now, granted, we're only on episode 3, so we'll see what happens come episode 9 and 10. But he's phenomenal. The girl from MI2, what's her name? Thandie Newton's phenomenal. Jeffrey Wright is phenomenal.
Evan Rachel Wood.
The Danish Evan Rachel Wood is phenomenal. The Danish woman that my wife is incredibly in love with, the main character, the head of everything that smokes, smoking woman.
I got it broken
It's right
up
here. Yeah. He's got it.
She's awesome, and so that
Sidsi Bebat
she's got one of those weird
Knudsen.
umlauts and shit in her name.
Probably Knudsen.
Shut up.
The production value is phenomenal. The way it's shot is phenomenal. The fact that literally the same thing happens over and over and over and over again, and it's fucking riveting. So the pacing of the edit, everything, all that, the writing is great. The small touches, like when the music hits and you're like, is that fucking Radiohead?
Yeah.
Is
that
so
Black Hole
cool.
Sun being
Piano,
played
yeah.
on a
Black Hole
piano?
Sun? So things like that
It's
really draw
really
you because
cool.
that's how you'd have to do it if you wanted to make a contemporary like amusement park for adults to come into. And then just the overall concept is really, really cool. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad, you said you're going to make this topic. Matt just happened to be in town. I'm like, let's watch it on your HBO Go account, which is great. And now I have to just keep watching it.
It's, I think, a fantastic piece of sci-fi. And I give Kev Dog credit because he was one of the people trying to
was
get us all to
pushing
watch
it.
it. And
Oh no, I had it recorded, and then when you texted
Yeah.
me, I was like, oh shit, I didn't watch them yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'd seen the previews, and I'm like, this is what the fuck is happening.
previews looked great, and it was like, oh, cool, a Western thing. But
Yeah.
I didn't realize it wasn't. It was. I went in not really knowing what I was getting into, and
Yeah.
so when I'm in the middle of that episode, where I'm like, holy shit, and they're like talking about how it's not about the storyline you get, it's about the choices you make, and then I'm like, fuck, it's a video game without the video game.
That's absolutely
portion.
correct.
Video
It's
game.
exactly
Yeah.
right. Yeah, it's a live action video game, and it's also the mashup of what you fucking dorks like in Disneyland, right? Of like there is this
The
like
production value.
yeah.
Getting able to fuck animatronic things.
Yeah, exactly.
He
Hall
gave
of
you two
Presidents.
fingers.
Fucking that Lincoln face.
No, it's that mix up of
Or
video
school.
game and theme park shoved together, or whatever,
Right.
and then
Everybody
having
at
role
Disneyland
playing
does
and
two
like
fingers.
live action.
No, it's
Yeah.
fucking cool, and it's total like that. If that place really existed, like, oh my god,
$40,000 a day.
I would save for it and try for
No,
one
you-
day.
Yeah, one day.
One
Try to get
day.
it all in.
Yeah, all I gotta do is one side quest.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really want to play.
Is
I
it? I mean, $40K for you guys is not that bad a day.
put it on Patreon.
Yeah,
Okay.
put it on Patreon.
No, it's really, really cool. Now, to be fair, I'm not fiending for it. Like, I'm very much looking into the next episode. It's not on Game of Thrones level for me, right yet. We'll see how it goes.
See,
Even Game of Thrones took a couple episodes to get into.
I feel like after the first episode, I was like, damn, I need more of this.
Yeah.
After the second episode, I was like, oh, I want more right now. After the third,
Really?
a little bit less for me.
See,
No,
I've been
less.
outspoken before. Just like
Yeah.
Game of Thrones just isn't my jam. I'm not a fan
So
of the
weird.
setting and
So
everything else. And I love the setting here, both
Yeah.
in Westworld and outside of Westworld, of like how they run this theme park.
Yeah.
And then so yeah, I'm not waiting with bated breath because like Ed Harris's whole thing with the maze and all this other stuff. I'm like, that's interesting. I'm sure that's going to become more and
gonna
more
take a while.
important.
Yeah.
But I'm way more into watching Dolores and like how quickly she gets wise to what's happening,
Yeah.
what her motivation could be. This is one of those I wish that. I know it's impossible. It's a lot like comic books where I wish I could have waited like Colin is, even though he'll have something ruined and be pissed off about it. And I like being part of the conversation. I wish I could just
Yeah.
marathon it all like a Netflix show.
I
Because
love
I
being-
would sit there and just go,
Do you know how many actual episodes they're going to do?
no, I don't.
No
I'll look into it
idea.
for you.
I mean, probably anywhere
10 or
between 8
12?
and 13, I would say.
I-
That's the general HBO show.
I love that the conversation. Like, I love being able to, like, I'm excited about next week when you guys all hopefully catch up and then we
Yeah.
can sit down and be like, oh man, did you watch yesterday? This, and that. And I want Tim to join so bad because I think he's going to love it. And I've just, my whole life's been those sort of conversations with Tim.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. And here's the thing: it's gonna be interesting to see where they go, right? Because we had a cool twist right at the beginning, which was not revolutionary, but it was like you're like, oh, they're gonna fuck with us a little bit. Like we're not sure
Oh, they
what's
fuck.
happening.
10
and then-
episodes.
10 episodes.
7 more. Am I so excited?
And then we sort of are on this storyline that's not 100, like nothing 100% enthralling is happening with the main story.
Which one's the main story to you?
To me, the main story is them kind of
The
starting
host
to remember
waking
what's
up. Yeah,
happening.
yeah.
So it's nothing like shocking, crazy moment. Even the stuff with Thandie Newton, I was like, this is just beautifully done, and like it's shocking, or like disturbing, but it's not on the level of like the Red Wedding, right? With
Sure.
Game of Thrones, right? So we haven't gotten a moment like that.
But that
yet.
we didn't
Well, I mean,
get
that
that.
takes
in,
a
like,
long
But
yeah,
it's
time.
this,
yeah.
it's this cool sci-fi slow burn,
Yeah.
right? In this beautifully fucking crazy sci-fi environment juxtaposed with the Wild West. And even like some of the small things they do that I think is really, really cool that kind of brings you in is like the Mexican, I looked at the locations, the place they were in Mexico, and I think there was another place. Those are actual backlots on Universal. So like they felt like a backlot too. So when you come in, there's like three places.
Yeah.
I don't think they really cared to do anything to make it feel like it was an actual Mexican town.
different
It
spot.
felt like it was kind of theme park esque, and so stuff like that fucks with you because you have that. You have Ed Harris sitting down with, I forget the actor's name, the guy from 187, and they're having this intense
that was a great
conversation,
scene.
and then this brutal scene unfolds.
Yeah,
And you're like,
yeah.
what is happening with this fucking show? But it's shit like that. I mean, it's that juxtaposition of those sort of moments that really have drawn me in.
So what do you think if them? I guess what's the through line going to be? I think they're setting up Ed Harris, right? And I
Right.
think they've made him look like this man in black. He's going to be this big bad guy or whatever. Da, da, da. I do you think what's going to happen with him? What's your prediction for that character? Because I think what's going to happen at some point is he's going to flip and be the hero. It turns out.
You think so?
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
I think because the maze gets referenced. I think and I could be wrong on this, when they were talking to Dolores, right, or whatever. It seems like the maze is for hosts, and I don't know
Yeah,
if that's
what
like
I thought. In the last
their-
episode, they made it seem that way.
If the maze is a test to be like, if you can get through this thing, then you are
Sentient,
you,
right? Or-
you found consciousness.
yeah,
Are we going to
consciousness.
find
It's like a
Arnold?
Turing
Right?
test.
Isn't that his name? Arnold
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
center of it. You know what I mean?
No. Wait a
Arthur?
minute.
Wait, who's the guy?
Arnold.
He's
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
partner. But you don't think Ed Harris is Arnold?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
No, because
No, 'cause they showed a picture
they're
of him.
aware of Ed Harris. They've looked in on Ed Harris and gone.
He's
oh,
just
he-
someone that's been there for 30
and they were like,
years,
that guy
spending
gets to do
tons of
whatever he
money.
wants
Yeah.
when they were talking about it.
No,
So-
no. Okay, that's not the way I took it though.
What'd you take it as?
I took it as everyone that's younger thinks he's that person, but we have not seen who that person is in Anthony Hopkins' eyes.
Sure, Anthony
Because
Hopkins
he
hasn't looked into it.
knows all kinds of shit, and he's about as old as Anthony Hopkins. So my question, I think what happened is they had an argument, and he's like, "Oh, he left and died," when he really didn't.
just
Now
wanted
he's
to
trying
live.
to go, "You guys created this cool studio. I'm going to burn it down from the inside, or I'm going to release these people because they're real humans, and you're fucking around. This is not what I wanted. I'm going to go in as someone else and come out swinging."
I just feel like it's too easy. It's too easy that he is.
I mean, yes.
Arthur.
I mean,
what's
yeah.
that guy's name?
I-
forgot.
yeah,
Arnold.
Arnold.
Right.
Yeah. My theory is
Maybe.
that
I mean, maybe, or maybe he's just someone else. Yeah.
I just think he's a guy that one day was like, I'm gonna 100% this game,
Yeah.
and has been doing every single quest and
That's possible.
journey and different
For 30
variations
years,
for
though?
30 years. Because that's
honestly,
what he, like,
what it feels like to me in a way is it's
gonna get that
it's
platinum.
the end of Groundhog Day, right? Like Groundhog Day is a really funny movie, and blah, blah, blah. When you talk, I think it's when Ivan Reitman or maybe it was Harold Ramis talked about it, right? That was supposed to be that he lived that day for 5 years every day, and that's why by the end he's just trying to kill himself, and he's so miserable, right? That like Ed Harris has platinum the game, and now he's trying to get into the actual inner workings of
Right.
this and see the code and what he hopes to find in the maze. I don't know if he's
I think he figured out that there is one more game for the hosts to play.
sure.
And he's just like, I know it's not for me, but I'm gonna do this so that the completionist in him is satisfied.
Yeah, because that's the thing of like too, where it's like he went and takes the guy's scalp to get the
Right, the map.
maze map or whatever, right? But it was interesting when they're cutting back and forth to when Tandy, you said what was her name?
Thandie Newton. Yeah.
When she's almost getting scalped by him, right? When Evan Rachel Wood's in the barn, he goes to scalp her too. I don't think the map was on every person, right? Like he's been going through systematically trying to figure out
Trying to
who
figure
has
out,
this,
yeah.
and it turns out that there is it. So there is another game built in that this is there, and how do you got?
Right.
I can't wait to see how he got started on that quest.
Well, that's the other thing too. Is like people clearly know he's on this playing this game, right? Because at some point, something told that little girl to tell him where the maze was, right?
Or that it wasn't for him. Or
Or
whatever.
that it
Well,
wasn't for
I'm-
him or what it was.
Shit.
Remember, she's like, go to the whatever and go.
Yeah,
visit the
but it's
thing.
not meant for you.
But it's
and
not
then-
meant for you, right?
I mean, but
so she shut off and then came back to herself. So someone that
but
was a
that could
message
just be a
from somebody.
program that
That
was
could
already
be
set in there.
That's
Arnold.
possible
Yeah.
too. That's possible too.
Or
Yeah, I don't know.
Ford.
I thought they showed Arnold though. Didn't they show a picture of a young
No.
Anthony Hopkins?
They showed
Yeah,
young
showed-
Anthony Hopkins, and they never
did
showed
not
the other
show
guy.
Arnold.
Oh, they didn't show the other guy.
Yeah.
They didn't
Interesting.
show him in a picture.
No.
I thought we
I
saw
thought,
it.
I thought we saw him too.
I'll look it up after this.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why I think there's got to be something. The Man in Black has got to be something.
So, but I mean, that's
there's got to be more.
ultimately.
It can't just be a
ultimately,
patron. or a
Like this
patron.
is obviously based on the. I think it was a Michael Crichton movie, not a book. I think he wrote a movie and it was called Westworld. I think it was Yul Brynner. But the concept was originally that it was a bunch of reporters coming to this brand new theme. It was Jurassic Park, basically.
Yeah.
A bunch of reporters coming to this brand new theme park that all these robots, and then lo and behold, one of the robots, they all start going crazy and killing all the humans. And so that's the general theme that we're dealing with here is like what's going to happen when these beings become sentient and realize that they can
Get the fuck out.
get the fuck out of there. Like what's going to happen? And it's similar to, and this is why I like it. It's got themes that Ex Machina dealt with,
Yeah,
things
yeah.
like that. Like they talk about the Turing test. They talk about what life is, and it just because it's not organic doesn't mean it's not alive, you know? So it's going to be really cool to see how this develops. My only real concern with the series right now is like, I want this to just be one season.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
just want it to be
Yeah.
fucking 12 stellar episodes that fucking blow your mind, and then boom, we're done. I don't want to see Anthony Hopkins wrestle with something else in season 2, right? If he makes it out of the season, because he's the Dumbledore character and probably will die.
Oh my God, Nick.
What?
Well, he's the character that Jeffrey Wright's the understudy, and at some point Jeffrey Wright's going to probably have to take up the mantle. It doesn't matter.
Well, I'm interested to see who's going to turn out to be a host in the support staff.
That's exactly.
There's
my
got to be
thought.
somebody there who
Yeah.
they don't know, or like, you know, I mean, the
Right.
host doesn't know. Or I was like, at first I thought Anthony Hopkins was going to turn out to be a host, but then we
Right.
see a young picture or the young
Young-
thing
right.
of him.
Which was done
but then even
stunningly.
then, maybe he uploaded his consciousness or did something to that effect. I don't know.
That's possible. My question to you guys is, if you were in this world,
This
Yeah.
is good right here.
No, this is
good.
where I was eventually going to go. Yeah.
if
What-
you were in this world,
The
Yeah.
answer is yes.
how would you go wicked? How much shit would you do? Like, what would
I'd
you
be a
do?
good guy
For how long?
for the whole thing. I mean, I'm a cowboy. I'd be taking out the bad guys. I'd be going on. I wouldn't go on maybe the rides out there, but I'd be protecting town. I'd be sticking around there.
You wouldn't go on the rides out there?
Maybe a couple,
Like,
but
if you
not
know
all
you
of them.
can't get hurt, you know, and just go.
Well, they have a few logical points that I need answers to.
Like how
Like
the
what?
bullets work?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
And,
they've explained that.
happens if
They're
another
like,
human being
yeah,
is another human
yes,
being?
Ed Harris. They ricochet him off like he's in the Matrix, and then
well,
the
he's
other
used to get so.
then the other guy gets shot and knocked down.
on their like forums, they said it's like paintball guns.
No, yeah,
where
they
it hits
don't-
you.
Sure.
It
So why did
hurts a
Ed
bit.
Harris not act hurt at all?
Because
cares
he's been
about
getting
that?
hit
Even
by
wits.
those paintball guns
That's not
for
how
30
paintballs
years.
work. He doesn't have like calluses all over his body.
No, it's not.
Well, it's not calluses, but you're used to it.
Also, have you seen Ed Harris? Badass.
No, he's
Yeah.
got leathers on.
No, I hear you.
motherfucker.
Leathers. There you go.
He's got a set of leathers on. It's all cool and shit.
Yeah.
And they're also not. And then they're little sand blaster, little balls. Here's okay. Yes, so you would be positive man. You'd
Yeah.
be like the hero.
Yeah, I'd be a Superman kind of guy.
I think I would do that for a second. Then I'd be like, I'm taking these two bitches in the back, and I'm gonna pay for some goodness.
that's
Well, the
not,
hero
that's
can
not,
still
that's
do
not a
that.
bad thing.
And by paying, I mean not paying.
Oh man.
Oh, you're just gonna shoot your way out?
You're gonna take what you want. You're gonna
Ain't
trumpet.
nobody dope as me. I'm gonna be like, what'd you say?
You're gonna Donald Trump it?
Dude, I'm not saying this is a locker room,
Oh
but
no! Come on.
the problem is this. You're absolutely right, because it's a very interesting concept to be able to do whatever the fuck you want. Would you be a person that would snap someone's neck, rape someone,
it's one of
kill
those things where, like,
someone,
like,
just
take-
to see you could do it? Like, the idea of it bothers me. The
a
idea of
moral
rape
standpoint, sure.
bothers me, therefore I don't want to explore it. Shooting someone, I don't know if I would shoot someone. I think exploration or like an event, that would be fun. Being around it and like drinking a lot and playing the piano and we're gambling. That seems
That sounds
interesting
awesome.
to me. And just living in the world. But like if I was like, take those panties off, and then all of a sudden now it's time for a rape sequence.
Reacquainted,
Not,
Dolores.
yeah, and then the other thing to me is I'm thinking to myself, like, I think we've talked about this, like, you know, sex dolls. Like, that's nasty.
That is the thing I've thought of too. With
There are
these,
a lot of
yeah.
sex dolls
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
essentially in there, and what are they? Every night they restart them and clean out all the
Yeah.
holes.
Yeah.
Blah,
They
blah.
just sandblast that shit. My thing is
Does
this.
it smell like
how many
latex down
games
there?
have you played where an NPC comes up to you and no one's around and you're like, I'm just gonna shoot this fucking guy in the face? It's the same thing.
Oh no! You try it once.
Yeah, you gotta try it
know?
once, right? So why wouldn't you do that in real life? Like you're out in the middle of nowhere, some dude's just there, and you're like, I could just fucking.
Well,
kill
that's what they
this
talk
guy.
about with
Nah.
James Marsden's character,
Yeah.
right? That they were taking him out to the wherever.
But they
Yeah.
still
They
react
talk
like
about it.
humans, though. They react like humans. Like
I
if
know,
you rape
that's-
someone, they
yeah.
scream. If you
But
shoot them,
it's the exact same. Like
they
I'm playing,
scream.
you know,
Like,
I'm playing
there's-
Deus Ex, right? And in the middle of the town, if you pull your gun out and shoot, everyone goes crazy and they go huddle in the corner. And you're just tempted to
God.
just fucking slaughter all of them just once. It's like just because
No,
they're
Adam
annoying-
Jensen,
That's
no.
a video game, though.
I can't control my biotic
That's
arms.
not you
Well, like
standing
it's
on,
that.
on
It's
a
like when I
street
used to play
corner and
Hitman.
shooting
It's the same
someone.
thing where it's like it's just easier if I fucking mass murder everyone. And so like why wouldn't you do this?
But usually
There's
it's
no
funner if you
consequences.
do it the right way.
I do it the right way. For you.
I'm with Matt that like it's too real. You know what I mean? Like when the guy in the bar or the whorehouse or whatever shoots James Marsden, he collapses, and then he comes over and does like a million shots, and he's like still gasping for air, and like it's like. I
Yeah.
know he's a host or whatever, but like that would be too much for me to deal
Right.
with. I couldn't. I mean, again, to like gunslinging bad guys in the streets, like there's distance,
it's
there's
fun,
that,
yeah.
but I can't just walk up and murder someone.
Well, or more importantly, hand-to-hand combat with knife play and stuff. When like Ed Harris pulls a knife out and we were reacquainted, like you said, and then all of a sudden it's like, is he really gonna cut? Or a lot of throats are being cut in the
Yeah,
show.
yeah,
yeah.
Also, and you're like, wow, they just have an unlimited supply of that stage blood. I don't know. I mean, for $40K a day, you got to be sick anyways to spend that money to get into that that world. And are there packages where people like the man in black, Ed Harris? What does he have, a credit card on file? Does he?
Oh yeah,
He's probably some super
Does he
rich man,
just stay there every day in the same
Apparently.
outfit,
Maybe.
just getting sticky and nasty and?
finishing off the quest.
I mean, that's another one of those questions of just like, how are they getting these robots in and out?
Well, I mean, interesting.
Well,
I understand how they're getting them out with the
Yeah.
elevator.
I
But I mean,
imagine
like,
that,
how are
yeah.
you? Like, are new people coming in every day? And if so, how? If I just shot James Marsden's character, is he there interacting with Dolores the same way? You know what I mean? Like, is it that we're all? It doesn't make sense that
I think the
people-
stories reset every day, right?
But that doesn't make any sense then. Because
Yeah.
there's people who are staying multiple days. Even the guy right now with his brother-in-law
But
is
I think
staying.
there's like,
multiple
but I
days.
think
there's
like
some
there's
stories
like
go
overarching
deeper.
quest, and then
Right.
everything else is side quests. And so they just stay there. It's
you
like in a
can't
game. Like if you were to
possibly
go and like
experience
some event's
everything.
been triggered, you can't do that side quest anymore until you come back the next day and then
But
it's
what?
there.
What do you think?
It's not. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
When the two,
Because I mean, I'm sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
go ahead.
But what happens then when I take James Marsden out on the trail with me and we're gone for like?
People can't use them anymore.
But yeah, so the quest
alternate
changes
story.
a little bit.
But you just said that it starts anew every day.
Right, but so if you take James Marsden out that day, and that's the only day I'm there, I don't get to do that quest.
so
Because
he-
someone else took him. There's only one of him, so I got to go do something else. But there's like 40
But
quests
you
that
don't
are happening
know
at a given
that.
time, and only 20 tourists. At some point, there's just someone waiting out there for me to quest with, right? Or maybe he comes back and then I can interact with him. But either way, if they kill him, the next day it sets himself up, and I get to do that again. So theoretically, I'm there multiple days. I get to do the Marsden quest if I want.
Okay.
You know? Or not, or maybe I don't. But that's the thing too. Is like that's the whole point. Remember, then the guy gets there. He's like, "Don't do that. Don't do that. Wait for the
Yeah,
thing."
yeah,
like,
yeah.
he's
No,
like-
I understood all that, but like in my head, it was that he got there, and then there was however long he was there that it didn't reset daily for him. But you're right that it does for Dolores. So why would it not? But yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I just thought that would be such a game breaker for me. Then I'd only go for a day or whatever, 2 days and 1 night. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't want to see everybody. Oh man, I just fucking shot you, or I couldn't save you yesterday, and your whole family was killed by the milkman murderers or whatever.
But that's why I think taking the longer quest, like the quest to take you outside, would be cooler. Where it's like suddenly you are in like a different world, and you know you're not seeing the same people. The possibility of seeing the same people is
Sure.
significantly less likely.
Unless you go on that last one with all the fucking horrifying.
Okay, so this
demons
is what I was
and the-
gonna say.
and the
What-
oh yeah,
masks.
are they part of the quest? You think?
No, that's Anthony Hopkins put them in there for some reason.
You think
Right?
so?
That's the, I think that's the new
Because they
thing.
kinda
I think
seem
that's
like-
unknown at this point.
Yeah.
The way they acted, I was like, I don't know if that's a
Yeah.
quest or if that's just some crazy thing with Man in Black or.
Well, what
the
was
other
it
guy.
he said a very poignant thing, which I think is like the main overarching theme of the whole thing, which is like people don't come here for cheap tricks or something like that. They come here to see the person they could be or something like that.
to learn who they
to learn
can be.
who they can be or something like that. So I don't know, but I think maybe he's like upping the fucking game with this new one.
With the
Or
new
something,
world.
or they're going crazy.
That was the end of episode 1 or 2 where he was like, I have a
Episode
new
2.
idea or whatever.
Right.
And episode
and it was
3
just
is
like a
when they
burned
start
out
building
church
it.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That-
I don't
the
know,
Black
but those guys were like,
It was weird.
and they were all using hand-to-hand weapons, which I thought was weird because
Yeah.
like I don't understand how a host who's programmed to kill but not kill a human comes up and threatens you. Like the gun they can shoot you with,
Right.
the axe they can't swing and like get right there and stop you. Like you're dead, lay down, or kill me please. I don't
Well,
know.
and then what I was going to bring up is when they had remember the pit of guys that were waiting for the cook to come back, or the guy with firewood.
and they were like,
and then he got stuck in a rock enclosure and then went crazy, but then he killed him. He actually hit himself with a rock.
He,
Well, he
he
had
didn't
gone-
get stuck. He left. He
No,
left
no,
the
no,
scene
no.
and started
He
walking.
fell,
He eventually got
he fell
stuck.
into the little gorge. What's his butt went down
Right,
there
right,
to get
but-
him. Then they have the knife moment. Then
that
she
was
gets
brutal.
attacked, and then
the
instead of
Hemsworth
killing
brother?
her, he takes a
smashes
rock. It looks like he's
Right.
going to kill her, and then he starts smashing himself. Where you're like, is that a program? Like,
I
do
think
they-
that was
No.
he was.
Is
I
there
think he was off
safety?
on it. Whatever the hell art.
He was broken beforehand.
Yeah, he was
because
broken.
was
That's what I'm
carving
saying.
the little wooden creatures.
Right.
Which is
Oh,
weird.
but-
But
but-
we shouldn't be doing that. Yeah.
But it was that he was. Yes, I think.
So
Yeah.
like already there was something wrong.
There's
I
something
cannot
going
believe
down.
Who is the fucking guy? I always want to say Arthur now.
Arnold.
Arnold.
Arnold,
Thank you,
Arnold.
God. I think it's Arnold's voice in his head telling him to go to do that, whatever. Go off, get to wherever he's supposed to do. And then I assumed when he came out and picked it up, it was, all right, you got to
Yeah.
self-destruct yourself so nobody knows what I've told you, kind of
Right.
thing. And like
Oh,
smash
interesting.
your.
Well, I
processor.
think it had to do with that pyramid that we saw. I think it was in the second episode where.
Oh, he
he's
didn't know what
talking
the
about-
top was?
Yeah, he didn't know what the top
Yeah.
was. But the first two, like I think we're gonna start seeing hosts exhibit those like features.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't
I
remember
forget
what they
were.
were.
It was like
yeah,
it was
yeah.
like something.
One was
cognitive, like
self-preservation and the other one was
self-awareness. No, it's self-awareness.
I can't remember what
I know
they
what
were.
you're talking about. Yeah,
But-
It was in trying to become more human.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was the 4-tiered system of trying to become more human. which they didn't ever know what the last one was. Yeah,
Right. He never
Trippy as
figured it
hell.
out. Yeah.
It's trippy. It's really good though. I'm looking
Really
forward to
cool.
next week.
The last thing I want to say is it's fascinating, and I made this joke in the other room before the show. If you're going to be on that show as an extra, you better figure out how you want people to look at you naked, because the trippiest part of the whole thing is when they're like, I gotta put them in storage or wherever they call it. And I mean, a lot of that could have been fake or just CG or
they're
a
naked.
ton of extras just hanging the fuck
Well,
out.
so Greg and I know one of the guys that's in it, the guy that was played one of the Milkman
Stephen Ong.
psychos, the guy that was Jack. That my wife was like, "Holy shit!"
Oh, he's
like he's
jacked.
Trevor. He plays Trevor. He voices
GTA.
Trevor rather in GTA.
Sure.
And when we met him, he just naturally walks around jacked, but he's also hella skinny. So I think a lot of obviously it's the old trick of like when you're super skinny on
my point
camera,
is-
you look jacked.
You got to be paid a shit ton of money in Hollywood to be naked.
Yeah, but you're in a show with
Yeah, it's
Anthony
HBO,
But I mean,
Hopkins.
but
there's-
still.
but
Doing a scene with Anthony Hopkins, I'll fucking star
Those are
myself.
those
but
different
I'm just
things
saying,
too, though.
it's
Of like,
brilliant that there's so much money to spend on the sets,
Yeah.
and then 100 people naked, and then some of the top stars in the show have no problem doing entire. It's tastefully done, and you buy it. And even Anthony Hopkins says, "Why are you covering him? He doesn't get cold.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
Yeah,
He doesn't get
Humility, yeah.
embarrassed.
He doesn't
Stop
feel
it!"
anything
And
we
then
don't
he
want him to
slices
feel,
him
yeah.
with the razor. It's like Jesus Christ. And that extra was naked and saying, "Hey, this is great." I just they're doing it tastefully, but it is very shocking at some
Oh,
points
yeah,
where
totally,
their
totally.
interviews and the maintenance is like, oh my god, put some clothes on. It's great.
You gotta think.
I'm gonna
at least
watch a lot of
one
it.
or two of those dudes, the lower level guys that are just like cleaning them off, just sneaking a little bit in there.
I mean, if they're already supposed to be cleaning it off,
just get a
You're
taste.
you might as well,
God, you're
throw a shot
horrible.
across the
They're gonna
bow.
take a taste.
No,
No.
I don't. Jesus
They're
Christ.
doing their
And
job.
actually,
It's
yeah,
like
no
working
one
in a
of them
morgue.
has. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Watch Westworld. This has been the Game Over Greggy Show. Remember, each and every week, 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table. Not even gonna try
Oh,
it,
I
huh?
did. I went like this.
Try it with some gusto next
No, I
time,
gotta
all right?
watch it. I'm gonna scratch this table up.
Nick does it all the time.
This table's all fucked up. To bring you random topics of discussion for your amusement. If you like that, head over to patreon.com/kindafunny, where we post the entire show early and give you a bevy of exclusive goodies and perks. If you have no bucks to toss our way, no big deal. Head over to youtube.com/kindafunny, where we post the entire show topic by topic, day by day, until it goes up as one big video in MP3 the following Friday. Matt Scarpino,
Do it,
thank you so much for coming by.
dudes. Thank you.
Everyone check out Midlife Ballers. Matt's very funny on it. Does the goofy stuff.
It is goofy and
Yeah.
it's fun and it's enduring.
It's enduring. 32 weeks.
Everlasting.
37
It
weeks.
is the alpha and the omega.
It's about 37, 38. We're
Nobody
doing
fucking knows.
30-60. It's 30 sexy. Yeah, motherfucker.
Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.
Blunk, blunk, blunk. Yeah.